Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to week 5. Week 4, I mean. My bad. Week 4 of Scrim Zone, season 5 is what I meant to say. Got Rift Sharks versus Spectres coming up soon. This is a pretty important match. Just for the fact that standings right now are very neck and neck. I mean, I guess to be expected since everybody is... It's early on in the season, so people being close is just bound to happen, but this is actually the game this week that I'm most excited to watch. These two teams are the two teams that don't include myself that I actually wanted to see play against each other the most. I think it's because Dean and Mason are both the people that usually do the patch, or not the patch rundowns, but the meta rundowns and the weekend reviews, and they are now opposing each other. Mason is not playing, but he is the coach of Spectres, and Dean is the AD carry for Rift Sharks. So I am very much excited to see that go down. As I pull up draft. This is not the right draft, sorry. Come on. This is old drafts. There we go. As we get this going. Hasn't started yet, so we'll go back to this. A lot of interesting statistics. You know, Jonah in today, Dean switching back to AD carry last week after realizing maybe Boveth jungle is just not the wave, and he should let his jungler leave the cooking to the cook, as some would say, and leave the jungler to the jungling. So Dean's back in his rightful spot as AD carry. 10-3 with a 5.14 KDA on Jhin, something to look out for. And Jonah's boasting a very similar win-loss ratio on his Shyvana. 10-2 with a 5.48. Now, I don't necessarily expect to see a Shyvana in this meta. I think that character is really bad. It's a very gank-heavy meta right now, so I'm going to have to say probably no Shyvana, but there's always a chance. Jhin also not super great, but with the presence that Caitlyn has shown in the meta recently, I mean, Jhin is just one of the tried-hard true counters to Caitlyn. I'm not sure if we're going to see a lot of Caitlyn prio this series. I think we might. I think there's a good chance. The champion historically in Scrim Zones this season has just been absolutely dumpstering, completely overperforming. The champion is just going hog wild right now. I think she's been picked 5 times, I believe, with 4 wins, 1 loss. Generally amazing KDAs across the board. I mean, I just foresee the champion. It just does really well. So I could see, and Cesarius with a 3-1 record with a 5.36 KDA. Definitely see potential for it to be busted out in this series. Sorry about the League of Legends noises, I just opened my client. But, so we're actually going to be getting into draft phase now. I'm glad we can just start it right up with a Gangplank ban instantly from Spectres. Guess they just want to take that. Could be a flex between Thomas and Michael, but he's the best champion on the patch, responding with the second best top laner in the patch, Jax. Seems like top lane's getting a lot of prio here. Pretty standard bans, just taking off some OP champions. I was talking about it before, but I wonder if we'll see Caitlyn ban. That is the Lux taken away. That does also tag the Caitlyn. Makes it a lot less enticing to play, but it can be played. that is the Echo taken away from Rex. Rex very much known for his Echo, his Hecarim. Those two champions. I didn't get time to talk about it completely, but I expect the Hecarim to also be taken away by Rift Sharks here. No, they will prow the Caitlyn ban, which, take it away from Cesarius. I've talked in length about it. It's a good ban. Singed getting off the table is strange, but Michael does have an insane win rate. I think he's 5-0 on the pick, and they just aren't having it. But the first pick, Ezreal for Cesarius. Very safe character. Lots of good pairings. Probably expect to see a Karma if we're drafting standard. Yuumi is dead. Probably not going to draft that. Braum could come out if it's a good Braum game. Overall, just a really safe AD carry. He doesn't get the push, though, which is something to look out for. Ezreals tend to waver in the push lanes. Speaking of push lanes, Ashe probably support. Could be AD carry, though. That's a character that always likes having push and is very good at getting push, especially if it's support. I'd like to see jungler here from Rift Sharks. I think just picking a jungler and not showing your entire bot lane is definitely just where you want to be. Because it also allows you to... Okay, they're just going to go ahead and just lock in the Kalista, show that it's Kalista, AD carry, probably... I don't think Dean is going to play Ashe AD carry and allow Zach to play Kalista support. That just sounds like a doozy. The Soraka is locked in for Kathy. This bot lane matchup, I prefer Spectres bot lane here, and then the Sylas, very, very interesting for Sarvarus, sorry. Cat got my tongue. But Sarvarus has proven that he's very proficient on these melee characters, these Akalis, these Sylases. He can, if he gets accelerated, he kind of just runs the server, so he's already seen Ashe Arrow. That's just enough for him to just say Beast Milan, lock the champion. Kalista ulti also can be pretty decent, and they're just going to just slam KO by Rift Sharks. Very interesting. I'm not sure how good that is with no frontline. They're definitely going to need a tank out of the jungle. I'd like to see Spectres ban Sejuani, since she's just the best tank jungler on the patch. Maybe even a Zac. Jarvan? Potato. I would like to see the Sejuani ban. I don't know if Jonah necessarily plays it, though, so they probably did better research over their opponents than I have. I'm just proposing what is generally stupid. The Yasuo ban is a little strange here, since Sylas is already showing, and that feels like a mid lane targeted Aurelia ban, so maybe they think it's Sylas is flexing top? I just don't see it. With Galio locked in to take away the... Well, not to necessarily take away, but... I do not like Alawi here at all. I think Alawi is griefing. Into Ashe Kalista KO. That's really bad. Galio, I'm not sure how Galio slots here. He goes even or slightly winning into the Sylas, but really just gives Sylas another good ulti. Tryndamere picked up is absolutely going to mow down Rift Sharks. They're really going to need to look at this Tryndamere and shut him down, because if this Tryndamere starts snowballing on this Kayle, it's just so insanely hard for Ashe, Kalista, even Galio or Kayle to play the game. Let's see what Rex decides to go. Gragas jungle. I have been seeing this make a return slowly but surely. I'm not sure if it's necessarily good, but it looks pretty decent. It does look quite strong in certain scenarios, and I don't hate it here. I really don't know what jungler Rift Sharks can really bust out. The Zac. Okay, yeah. It had to be some kind of frontline engage. So they've got the Zac with the with the Galio. Semi-decent combo. My only fear is that this Zac and Galio are just going to completely leave the back line of Rift Sharks out to dry while they're just getting absolutely ran down by Tryndamere, Silas, Gragas. I want to know if this Gragas is going to build more AP or more tanky. I'd like to see a tankier build coming out, because Spectres is also not missing a front line. They have the Tryndamere, they have the triple topside melee characters for front line, but they all are on the squishier side in general. So, well, I'm not trying to call Silas a squishy champion, but yes, I do have water this time, actually. I've got my Brita. I'm not solo casting waterless this time. But I don't know. I lost my train of thought. I don't think Spectres need any more damage out of the jungle, like out of this Gragas. I think they have the damage covered, so I think if they can just get a wall from the Gragas, I think that'll probably be the best, but I actually, more likely than not, will probably see an AP style Gragas, but I think it's fine. Go ahead and check out the featured matchup. Cesarius versus Dean in the bot lane. Honestly, I'm inclined... Okay, well, there we go. I'm inclined to agree. Dean has really just been pulling his weight recently. He's been absolutely showing up for his last 2 officials, I believe. Maybe just last 1. Whenever he switched back to 80 carry, he's been absolutely just playing like a monster. His Kaisa, his Callista, been proven very, very, very strong. Let me just make sure. That I can get in to the game. But yeah, so I'd like to see how Cesarius versus Dean goes. Especially with how volatile this matchup is. Cesarius opting more for the safe Ezreal Soraka. I really, really like the Soraka pick here. When they're showing like a double poke, Ashe support, Callista kind of lane, just feels really good to have that Soraka healing behind you to just keep you safe for as long as possible. I just very much enjoy the Soraka pick there. I think it's very, very strong. But if I had to give draft to one side, I would say definitely I would 100% favor Spectre's side. I'll just pull up the draft again since I'm still talking about drafts. But yeah, it just feels more holistic and complete compared to that of the Rift Sharks. But the Zac Galio, you can never count out Zac Galio. They can absolutely just, if they get like a 5-man Galio knockup after a Zac engage, and then there's just a Callista and Kayle free hitting in the back, I mean, it can be absolutely catastrophic for Spectres. But I think with the Tryndamere, I think with the Silas, with the Ezreal and the Soraka, they have really good disengage and engage and sustain. I just think it'll be hard for Rift Sharks to really realize, well, make that combo, that Galio-Zac combo, a reality on more than maybe 2 people. Holy that scared me. Who moved me to casting Futon? Now Matt can't get in. I don't have the okay, whoever's watching the stream that moved me into casting Futon, I was in the other chat because I cannot solo cast. I'll die. I think I'll die. I'll drown. And Matt's coming here in a minute. And I can't drag him in. Oh well, we'll figure it out. That scared me though. That scared me. Okay, it is the Callista AD carry Ashe support. I just thought it was very unlikely for it to be the other way around. Standard champions, standard roles. These aren't really teams to try and spice up too much when it comes to off-rolling, off-meting. They're just the types to play stock standard, try and just win the game. But, not too much more to talk about. I expect at least the jungler on the side of Rift Sharks, the Zac, to make his way down towards the bot lane as soon as possible. Just because, I mean, with a Callista Ashe pushing lane, I mean, realistically, both junglers should probably be pathing towards bot side. Gragas wants to punish the Callista Ashe for pushing, because they're probably definitely 100% going to push. Unless Kathy just plays absolutely amazing and just 1v2s, hits every Soraka Q, sustains back to full, while poking them down the entire time, while Cesarius is peppering them with Qs every now and then. Unless Kathy is just playing it out of her mind, then Ashe Callista just should realistically get the push, which means that Gragas is probably going to want to walk towards the bot side, which means Zac should know that and also want to walk towards the bot side. I'm also very curious if either of these bot lanes are going to be forced to leash, because if they are, that means that not only is their jungler most likely pathing away from them unless they do something like 3 camp on their bot side into bot gank, which can feel kind of bad because then you have to walk so much farther away, or farther to get back to your unfarmed camps, or, you know, something of the sort, maybe even 2 camp, like blue Gromp as Zac, since Zac is on the red team, into bot lane gank, something along this line. I don't think Gragas will opt for that. I think Gragas will opt for at least a 3 camp, but if one team has to leash and the others does not, I could see that just making lane really, really hard for either side. Like, if Ezreal Soraka do not have to leash, and Callista Ashe are forced to leash, and the Ezreal Soraka can get push, that could be catastrophic for Callista Ashe lane. I can see that going very downhill very, very, very quickly. Because without the push, they really do just lose a lot of their advantages in the lane. So I assume neither bot lane will have to leash, but we won't know until we see. As for mid lane, I mean, Galio's just survives by pushing, so I assume that, I mean, Rift Sharks are going to have 2 pushing lanes on the bot side of the map. They're going to have Galio, should be pushing in the Sylas, but realistically, the Galio should be pushing in the Sylas, and then Rift Shark should have Callista Ashe pushing. But Tryndamere will definitely be pushing in Kayle, so I'm interested to see how the map state comes to be and where the junglers prioritize. If there's one lane that starts getting super, super ahead just out of pure 1v1 or 2v2 just outplays, I feel like that is most likely to result in the jungler changing their pathing. But I would assume both junglers would like to just auto-run bot lane. But we will have to see. Okay, let's see. We are finally in-game. Kinda. We're kinda in-game. Usually it loads a little faster. There we go. Let me just fix my map. It's like 26%, I think, is where... Yeah, 26%. Time controls. Okay, cool. So we've got actually just a party in river already in invade. Ward goes down, but realistically, I don't think we're gonna see much. A little poke, wards exchanged, but overall, not too much. I'm interested in seeing Gragas is not basing. Maybe he doesn't know he's not basing? Okay, so he is looking like he's going to start red buff, but the Zac is looking like he's going to start on that top side on his red buff, or pinging, like maybe he's starting Raptors, but he is starting top side most likely, which I find to be very interesting and to be expected. But the fact that the Gragas is taking a leash means that there is a potential for the bot lane to not leash and just show early, which I think is completely reasonable. And now they have secured push on first wave, so have to check in with bot lane here in a minute. Oh, heavy trading by Savaris already. Just level 1. Yeah, I mean, Silas is probably just going to lose most of these trades in the early game, just out of pure numbers. Galio just has 2 abilities, basically level 1. Back in the bot lane, yeah, we can. This is basically going exactly as we expected. We have the push, but actually, something that I find to be very interesting is we can see Zac actually did Raptors red Krugs into this pushing Tryndamere lane. Very interested to see if we see a Zac gank level 2 on this Tryndamere, but it's looking like he's actually just going to path towards his bot camps after full clearing. Maybe 4 camp, maybe he'll do blue and look for a gank. Galio playing very scared right now just because he's level 2. His wave's coming into him. He doesn't really have to do anything. Eyes back on the bot lane. I mean, just very standard patterns, right, or trading patterns right now. Just trying to farm up. As you can, expect, Ezreal having to center a tower. He's going to go down a little bit of CS, but actually looking like some action in the mid lane. I'm not sure. Okay, it looks like they're just going to be trying to rotate for Scuttle Crab. There's actually being a little invade here with Savaris and Miru. I don't think Zac knows. Bot lane does have first move. Good chain by the Savaris, and that's going to be Zac passive, but they're kind of in the middle of the jungle without a way out. Ezreal pops the wall. Zac is taken down. Silence on the... Oh my god. Flash on the... And heal out from the support. She's taken down. Gonna trade with the mid laner. Galio's in. Exhaust comes down. But Callista's just allowed to free hit, and she's gonna flash the wall, and I can only assume a rend. Up. Galio's chasing down the Soraka. Kathy is running for her life, but overall it ends in a 2 for 2. But 2 kills going over to the side of Rift-Shark's 80 carry. That is not necessarily what you want to see. Especially with the double buffs in this already brutal lane. But on the other hand, they did... Well, hold my tongue for a second, as here comes Spectres with the gank, but they are on a ward, unfortunately, and Rift Sharks would just kite that right out. All in all, a pretty even trade, but I'm going to have to favor it to the side of Rift Sharks just because, I mean, Dean with that double kill on Callista can absolutely just take over this lane. But if Savaris is able to get something done with the lead that he's managed to get on the Sylas, then maybe there could be plays made from there. Speaking of plays being made, we have Zach. Oh, they just barely missed each other. Savaris didn't see him, and vice versa, so this is looking like a... Oh, and he used spin in. I mean, he doesn't have his ultimate ability. Lethal tempo is stacked. But, ooh, he's going to get level 6, but just... Everybody's just going to walk it out. De-escalate the play. Nothing exchanged. But it looks like we're coming up again with a regank. Kayle is being zoned off this wave. She's going to miss cannon XP, most likely. Yes. Well, a minute and a half until Rift Herald spawns. And top lane does seem to be the point of interest for both junglers, both having a staring contest with each other. But, you know, Zach will just jump the wall after getting chunked, but they do have the Tryndamere 6. This is looking like a dive. Galio ulti comes through. Nobody's tanking yet, but... Okay, Savaris takes the tank. One knockdown for the side of Rift Sharks, and it's just a disaster. Well played dive. Oh, flash for flash. Very well played, very well by Tryndamere. And that's just a dead Galio, we have to assume. Aftershock actually saves him, makes him tanky enough to get out. Rift Herald doesn't spawn for another 45 seconds, so... it could be worse for the side of Rift Sharks, but... Hats off to Spectres for... just a well-executed dive with the stolen Galio ulti from Savaris. That kind of confused me for a second. I didn't really know what was going on. But it was actually the stolen Galio ultimate from the Sylas. As Rift Sharks just go ahead and use their bot prio that they're basically guaranteed to have to go ahead and just get this first Drake while they know that everyone that was just topside is in base from Spectres. Yeah, just gonna go ahead and secure the dragon. Try and not fall too far behind. Overall, it's just a 1k gold lead for the side of Spectres. With an... Okay, nothing happening too much mid, but it does look like we're getting a lane gank from Spectres. I like this proactive play. If they can shut down this Callista, I think the game will just very quickly fall into just complete and utter dominance. They still don't know, but they do have the forward bush warded. I don't like that Cesaris is like still autoing and pushing, but the fight go ahead and breaks out. Kathy has to force to burn flash. Everybody knocked away by the fruit barrel. Kathy does fall. They're gonna get Zac passive potentially. No, Zac actually heals enough, and Rift Sharks just play that really well. Oh, the nice flash by the Gragas. Counter with nice flash by the Ezreal to kite it out. Unfortunately misses the Q, but is going to auto him down. Oh, I hope they just don't tunnel vision and maybe look at Callista. Yeah, maybe they can look at Callista, but she actually does take down the Ezreal. And with the Zac passive, it's going to be a 2-for-1 trade for the side of Rift Sharks. Really well played. Oh, but they're actually going back in, but Savaris is actually here to cover the play, and I don't see a universe where... Oh, yeah. Nice Callista stolen ulti on his jungler, and they trade 2 for 2. Trying to remember the names of some of these abilities. Drawing some blanks. But we powered through. Honestly, I mean, just really well played by both teams. But and here comes Avery just... pops the ghost and just runs him down. That's funny. I'll laugh now. One thing that I cannot stress enough for the side of Spectres that is just absolutely incredible is if we just look around the map, their vision control is absolutely excellent. They're very, very on top of this vision control. Kathy doing an amazing job of just keeping as many wards on the map as possible, as well as just multiple members of the team just chipping in, buying some pink wards, and just keeping the map as lit up as possible. Looking for a small invade here. They should know that Zach is bot side. They did see him on the ward, but they don't know if he left or not. But they should assume he's still here, but it's looking like a dive. True Shot Barrage comes out, but does not land. Asher comes out, cleanse is used, double knockout from the Zac, and that's just going to be Kalista ulti into them all, and that very, very good knockup by Zac. Oh. Unfortunately for the Gragas, it does look like he's going to just have to try and kite it out some way. He has no flash. He does get the shutdown on the Kalista. This is an AP Gragas, as I pointed out before. With shutdowns like this, I am inclined to agree that this is it's more of a angle to go towards this. Oh, trying something fancy with the flash. He just gets counter flash, trade 1-for-1 flash. Losing flash on your jungler definitely can feel bad, especially with Dragon coming up in the next minute. I should expect bases just to come in here. Gragas probably wants to spend his money. Rod of Aegis is complete from the side of Spectres. So this Silas will be getting very strong. This Silas is actually incredibly powerful right now. Speaking of neutral objectives, Trinamir has actually just been hitting Rift Herald. And he's just going to take that for free, while both sides otherwise set up for the dragon that will be spawning in the next 20 seconds. Now, the person I think we should keep our eye on here is definitely Dean. He's got this completed shield bow on the Kalista, 4-1 and 2. Very, very strong. But, wait, I mean, Galio just died. I'm not sure how that happened. If we can get... Okay, so this dragon fight's about to start. Engage from the Gragas is looking good. Zac is in 1v4. I mean, I have to assume he's just going to get punished for this, and he has no passive. He's just going to fall to the Savaris. I mean, this is just an absolutely free dragon at this point. I see no way in which Rift Sharks can do anything about this. Wow, the Trinamir is absolutely just plowing through top lane. Yeah, this Trinamir was a power pick. Very, very hard for the side of Rift Sharks to just play into that character. He's just going to start absorbing all of Zac's farm as much as he wants. Ping Ash Arrow on the way, and it lands on Savaris. Can the Gallia one-shot him, though? It's looking like probably not. This Silas is so incredibly strong. And actually, it looks like there might be an attempted turn, but realizing that the jungler could be there, they go ahead and just clear mid-wave out. The gold lead has gone to about 3,500 at this point for this... excuse me. For the side of Spectres. Most of the lead is sitting on this Kalista at this point. They really need to start to leverage Dean's advantage because, honestly, mid is completely unplayable at this point. It's completely over. Silas 4-1-4 with a completed rod. No mythics on the side of Rift Sharks other than the shield bow for Dean. Unfortunately, everybody else is just sitting on components while the side of Spectres is completely finished with their first items. Okay, both junglers are on this bot side. Oh, the Ash Arrow actually manages to land on Kathy. Good engage from the Gragas to counteract. Exhaust is dropped, and oh, nice Fruit Barrel with the TP coming in from the Silas, but it's actually canceled by the Galio. But it doesn't matter. Dean is just going to fall. This range advantage coming out from the Ezreal is just providing so much with the healing from the Soraka. Even though there was a really good cancel on the TP from the Galio, they just hard won the 3v3 regardless, but I mean, take the small wins where you can. Silas did burn his TP, but Trinimir's proxy farming your top lane, and Silas is just zoning your Galio off. It's hard to look at the positives, but I mean... Oh, and then like Zac is just like dead in his jungle. Oh, the chains do go wide. The Zac blobs are left alone, but it looks like they're just gonna dive. Nice flash. True Shot Barrage comes out. Cazares is just tanking tower, but he's not gonna fall for it. Soraka ulti comes out, and Savaris is just looking to run the server. Okay, but here comes Dean's final stand, and he does manage to get the shutdown on Savaris. Now, this is actually huge. The entire game practically fringes on this Callista at this point. With a shutdown that big, I have to assume that she's basically got her second item. Her Rage Blade? No, she's a little short, unfortunately, but this Trinimir is just unchecked inside and is just taking every tower, every Rift Herald. I'm not showing the Trinimir as much screen time as he deserves. He's been playing this game phenomenally. He's up 50 CS. He's taken 3 towers by himself, and I have to believe that he's looking for a kill on the Kayle. He does find her. The TP comes out. He has nothing to stop her, and she's just going to TP to tower. But you do get her TP for essentially what is free. Second Rift is spawning in a minute. And as items begin getting complete for the side of Rift Sharks, it's looking like this will be one of their best chances to fight, since, in my opinion, they do get outscaled in essentially every role pretty hard outside of top lane, but even then, Trinimir into Kayle is very, very easy to play. I would debate that in that matchup in specific, Trinimir doesn't really care about Kayle scaling. He just gets on top of her and absolutely destroys her. But Cazares and Trinimir both have 2 completed items. It's the Ashe is still no mandate, and it looks like Galio has just overstayed his welcome on bot wave and are just going to die, but they do manage to trade the kill onto Kathy, support for mid laner. But I mean, if you're Rift Sharks, you have to like that trade. I mean, yeah, your mid laner dies, but I mean, it's your 0-5 Galio for their Soraka, so realistically, getting dragons is about the only thing that they can try and do, is since they don't have that just fountain that is Soraka, but who is going to be coming back very fast because of the Hex Gates. It is looking a little suspicious, but okay. But Ezreal is just 1v1ing Rift Herald on top side. Didn't really want to draw attention to that while the quote-unquote fight was happening, and Trinimir on top side did get tier 2 and tier 3 tower while leaving the inhibitor alive, which is good. And Ezreal just 1v1 Rift Herald and absolutely whooped Shelly. And this Trinimir just shows no remorse. I mean, absolutely insane. He still has ultimate in his back pocket. I have to assume he's just going to kill everyone. Pops ultimate a little bit early, unfortunately, but maybe he can transition onto the Kayle. I'm going to have to assume he dies here. Big shutdowns going into the hands of Dean. If anyone can... If any AD carry in this league can carry, then it's definitely Dean from a position like this. He has his completed Rage Blade, completed Shield Bow. I assume he's going to get half an item, but... half an item, at least, but they're just charging down mid lane with a Rift Herald, and nice flash, but they have the The Callista ulti coming out from the Silas is just too strong with the Gragas, but it does force the Gragas flash since he is in there. They do get the tower and the inhib, but they're now on the run. Callista hot on their tail. Is Dean just going to sicko try and 1v5? No, he's going to back up a little bit. I mean, looking at the positives of that play for the side of Rift Sharks is now they have a free lane to farm, but unfortunately it is post 20 minutes, meaning that Baron Nashor is up and ready to be taken, and that pressure that will just permanently be down mid lane can definitely lead to a Baron being taken. Tryndamere is sitting bot lane, while Galio is sitting top for the opposite side. Savaris is just walking up there, check the Galio, but he's basing anyways. It looks like there might be a bit of a 1v4 from the Tryndamere about to happen, but they all missed each other. Kayle is alone. Gale Force on top of her. She does have the ultimate ability, and he's just going to kite it out and go back in. Nice flash. Does result in ultimate 1-for-1, but burning that Kayle flash is going to mean that it's very, very difficult for her to silent versus this Tryndamere. On the other side of the map, though, we do have the rest of Rift Sharks trying to posture around this Baron as best as possible, but they do have to, like, consider that this mid wave is going to be perma-pushing into them, and that's just something that they have to take care of at all points in the game. Essentially, this mid wave has become an objective in and of itself, because if you don't fix your mid wave, very, very difficult to play out the game. I assume nothing will happen bot lane until right now, when the entirety of Rift Sharks start looking for a play, and the Ash Arrow actually does land its mark. Good Ash Arrow from the side of Rift Sharks, and that is going to be a shutdown onto the Ash, unfortunately, but they do find the counter pick. Side of Spectres does find the counter pick onto Rift Sharks mid laner. I promise I'll pull up a list of the players who are playing so I can say their names next game. Now this red buff is becoming the objective, and Zach is kind of caught in between a rock and a hard place. He's just going to have to give up that red buff, while super minions just keep marching into the base, but he actually engages 1v3 for the big raptor. But he is Zach. He's going to be able to walk it straight out. Callista has completed her third item. She's now the most fed member in the lobby with 3 completed items. This next dragon will definitely be a hot point of contention because it will put Rift Sharks on Soul Point, and I think that is really the advantage that they need. If we just zoom out to try and look at bot lane and top lane, a good fruit barrel onto the AD carry. Dean ulti's out, but there is just so much going on. Dean is still alive, free hitting. Tryndamere props are. The Ash ulti comes out from the Silas. Nobody's dying. Cesaris is caught out, but will manage to find a pick onto the Galio. True Shot Barrage comes out. Cleanse. And good chain by Savaris to lock down the Callista, which allows Ezreal to finish off the job. Zac passive popped and taken down. The dragon is going to go in the side of Spectres. Well played, honestly. Even though Kayle and Callista were allowed to free hit for quite a while, ultimately they're just so behind at this point. Well, the Kayle is just so behind, and the Callista can't, do it all by herself in the middle of 5 people. That is just going to result in just a one-team fight for Spectres, and they're gonna get the dragon. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet for a second. I need to drink some water. Solo casting's hard. Okay, so this Baron is the new position of interest. As to be expected, no dragons on the map, but Nash has spawned. The inhibitor has respawned for the side of Rift Sharks, so they no longer have to just consciously think about this. But the KO is just absolutely griefing. Good flash belly slam by the Gragas. And that is the pick that they need. If Savaris can manage to land a chain onto this Ashe, but she does burn flash, Zach engages with the Jelly. Whoa. Good knockup by the Galio, but I'm not sure it's going to necessarily matter. But Rift Sharks are actually completely turning this. If Dean can kite it out, good knockup from the Galio, and unfortunately Silas is just Silasing all over the competition. He just, oh my god, I'm gonna be sick. He healed so much. Oh, but there might be a solo kill here. Unfortunately not. Oh, but the flash in from the KO will take out the Gragas, taking out Ezreal to 1 HP. But this Silas is just going to look to clean up the support of Rift Sharks. The KO is free hitting, but a turn, and they're just going to all kite it out. Ezreal's just going to Arcane Shift away, and I have to assume that we're just going to see a reset. Absolutely crazy. That team fight did show super signs of life from the side of Rift Sharks, though. Absolutely just were this close to just finishing it off, but they just lacked a little bit of damage. If they can get to this KO level 16, she's 1 level away, then when she's free hitting in these fights, it could mean a lot more. Honestly, really good job by the jungler and mid laner of Rift Sharks to just buy as much time as they possibly could in that team fight. Lots of good CC just being layered and knocked up, but ultimately they just fall short on the damage. But they do have that scaling Kale, so... But yeah. So this Nash is still standing tall, and neither team has really found a important enough advantages to be able to go into it, but the Fruit Barrel is whiffed, but nice Q by the Ezreal takes him out. But Gragas is going to have to pay with his life, but the Soraka Starcaller actually comes down. So much damage being outputted by this Ezreal. Now Dean says it's my time to shine. He absolutely obliterates Kathy. Can he kite out this Cesaris? He gets ultimated from the Kale. Stopwatch is absolutely crazy team fight. He is really feeling himself shut down onto Dean. Are they going to keep looking? Oh, wait. Tryndamere is ending the game. That would be so sad from the side of... He didn't pop his ultimate. He was CC'd and messed up the timing and didn't pop his ulti. That is tragic. What a crazy first match this has been. And the Baron is just being started up from the side of Rift Sharks. TP committed by their mid laner. Oh, but... Oh, is anybody paying attention? Sarverus is running it down towards the mid lane. Ashe Arrow lands. This might be the most important Ashe Arrow he's ever hit in his life. And yeah, he's not going to be able to end. Wow, and the Baron is just going to go to the side of Rift Sharks after their Nexus has been bombarded by Spectres members. I cannot believe what... Wait. They're not all going to die. Okay, no, they're going to get away. Kathy, steal it! But imagine. Oh, wait, but he actually messed up his Q over the wall, and that's going to get him killed. Unfortunate from Dean, but the Rift Sharks are regardless wearing purple. So this defense is very, very doable at this point. 4 items in for both of the 80 carries. Both 80 carries just playing this match absolutely exceptional. But I worry about the fact that Tryndamere might just walk in and in the game. However, he is opting to team fight. The Zac is buying a lot of time. Kayle is absolutely throwing out DPS left and right. Gragas is taken down very low, 1 HP. He's going to fall. Kayle is just free hitting. Galio ulti comes in from the back. Zac is absolutely just buying enough time, and this Kayle is just allowed to free hit. Almost a pentakill. I'm not gonna lie, I was trying to be as optimistic as possible for the side of Rift Sharks, but they've proven that they don't need my optimism. They'll just take the game into their own hands. They've got their Kayle scaled up, 25 stack Medjais. I can only assume that she's going to base after this dragon and pick up a rabbit on Seth Cap, and Spectres are suddenly just on the back foot. It's actually insane as how this game has went in the last, like, roughly 6 minutes. I'm not even sure if Sarverus can 1v1 Dean anymore. Dean with the 5 items, or the 4 core items plus stopwatch. Absolutely ridiculous how strong this Callista is. True Shot Barrage comes down, finds some meaningless poke, but gets him a little first strike gold, try and get him accelerated to that last item as fast as possible. But at this point, it's a team wearing purple, which will probably wear off fairly soon. There's about a quarter of it left. But we have a team wearing purple and a level 16 Kayle, level 18 Kayle with almost full build versus 2 destroyed inhibitors and a Tryndamere that can end the game instantly if the situation arises. I have absolutely no idea what is going to happen inside this game. This has been an absolutely crazy first game that we can expect from 2 teams of the caliber of Spectres and Rift Sharks. I was right to be looking forward to this game. I'm glad that I got to cast it in specific. I assume that this blue buff will be passed on to the Kayle. Yes, it will. And across the board, level 16s are starting to roll in, at least for the side of Spectres. This level 16 Silas, he has a lot of amazing ultis to play off of, and with the level 16 ulti, it goes down to about a 20-second cooldown after you use it. So he could potentially get 2 or even 3 amazing ultis off in a single fight. Throwing Gragas into people, Ash arrowing, Galio ulti, Kayle ulti, just absolutely, I mean, Sarverus has a lot to play with in the final moments of this game. It is just kind of a game of wave states at this point. We just have Rift Sharks tunneling, or turtling to the best of their ability, while Spectres are just trying to push in as much as possible. Baron is up in a minute 50, with Dragon spawning 20 seconds after, about 2 minutes. Really, it's just down to this Ezreal to poke as much as possible. Oh, but it's looking like a solo kill might be in order. Flash committed by both people, and Kayle is just going to pick up the solo kill. That is disastrous, potentially. Bot lane and Ash Arrow did go wide, missing out on the Tryndamere pick. But without the Silas being alive, Spectres have got to feel pretty uncomfortable fighting this 4v5. Without the Silas able to steal the Kayle ulti himself, it will make that very difficult. TP is committed by the Galio, yes, by the Galio, and they're just going to walk it out. That is one tool that will not be there if this Tryndamere decides to keep split pushing. Keep split pushing when Baron ultimately spawns. Try and open up that Nexus. I mean, if we just look at the vision that Spectres are, I mean, that Rift Sharks are playing with, their map is actually pretty dark on this Baron side. They're getting, you know, wards here and there, but they're trying to sweep out some of it themselves, but I mean, also the side of Spectres very much dipping on their vision control. Both teams seeming to prioritize the bot side. Pinks do go down from the side of both teams getting pinks in the pit. So Baron is completely warded. This is Soul potentially for the Rift Sharks, and a full build Kayle with Hexol. I mean, that just sounds completely unplayable. So this is gonna look very hard to play for both teams. Dean is chunked out, but with the Bloodthirster, he's just gonna no-clip his health back to full. Here comes the Callista engage onto the Callista with the Galio to respawn. Kathy is just being absolutely peppered down, and she's going to fall after popping Starcaller. They do get the GA from Dean, but it's an absolute mosh pit. TP in from Kayle. Ezreal is doing what he can. Stopwatch from Savaris. He's going to fall after the flash, and you can't help but think that the game is just going to end from this point. Cesaris is so dead. Yeah, unless he bases. Okay. I thought he might be trying for like an inhib end or something. He actually might. That is one fast Kayle. And with the Hexol secured by the side of Rift Sharks, I mean, what else is there to do than to march onto your Baron before claiming the Nexus as your final prize. Absolutely insanely played from the side of Rift Sharks this game to bring it back. Speaking of, though, an engage, Nashro hits, Cleanse comes out, and chunked very low, does use his E, but ultimately no one will fall, and Rift Sharks will wear purple after going 0 for 0. Well, kill was good. Nobody died. I mean, the game looked so grim for the side of Rift Sharks, and now Spectres are the one on the back foot. They're going to need to find some way onto this full build Kayle, but it seems very unlikely for her to fall. Especially, well, the one saving grace that they have with this Kayle is that she opted into not buying a Zanya's. So, if you can get on her, she does have her ulti, but that's all that she's gonna have. When I say that's all, like, that's a bad tool. It's a very good tool, but she can't layer Zanya's on top to make herself even safer. She opted into a riskier build path, and also this Callista, her GA is on cooldown. So what I want to see Spectres do here is just try and keep waves shoved as best of your ability without dying, and just let the Baron wear off naturally. Don't try to overforce a fight. You'll never win when they have Baron. And if you do force a fight and they end up wiping you or getting even like 3-4 kills, the game is just going to end. It's just going to be over. They're just going to march down with Baron. So you have to wait that out, in my opinion. Just let your Tryndamere collect side waves. He has enough escape to just run away to the best of his ability, but he might be overstaying here. Ash Arrow somehow hits. What a hitbox. Ultimate does not come down, and disaster. strikes for the Spectres. That is twice now that he... Man, you have to be kicking yourself right now if you're this Tryndamere. First, not ulting, mainly not ulting when you were hitting Nexus, which... Oh, but there is an amazing engage by the Gragas, but unfortunately the Callisto does not fall. A stopwatch comes out from Cesaris. Zac is in there. Ash Arrow comes down, finds Cesaris. The Callisto is just absolutely free hitting. Rend. Ash Arrow from Cesaris goes wide, and the Zac is in there, but it's just overall going to be a 2 for 0, 3 counting the Tryndamere, and I think the final march is in order from the side of Rift Sharks. Absolutely amazingly played to bring this game back from the position it was in the early game. They're kind of dancing around like they don't want to end. Oh, Kayle was actually tagged. Ash Arrow comes out, but you have to think that the Kayle is actually going to die. She flashes out. Tryndamere is over the wall. My screen's gone black. The team fight's still happening. Stopwatch is popped by the Galio. And the Callista is just free hitting. Gragas goes in, gets the Zac passive. The TP comes out to stop the Zac from dying. Callista ultis Ash straight in for the 3-man knockup. Starcaller comes down from the Soraka. Nobody ultimately died that was in the middle of that situation. Oh, and Dean hardly escapes. What a crazy team fight. It sucks my screen went black for a second. Really unlucky. Okay, so, I mean, this game completely comes down to this Elder fight. Even though Spectres overall have been losing most of these fights, because they died first and then got kills on the backside, they're actually going to be up first to get to this dragon, but Dean is holding his own by himself in pit. He's just going to go ahead and prioritize wave, which will allow the side of the side of Spectres to try and get some more priority inside of this pit. This is the team fight to decide it all. I do think it will be very difficult for Spectres to win this team fight, just based on the Kayle's strength alone, and the fact that they weren't able to get into pits. But let's see if they can make a miracle happen. Callista ulti for Cerberus. The dragon is being absolutely melted, though. Does get reset for a second. Okay, it is accidentally reset. This does give more time. They have vision on it, and it is good attempt to try and Callista ulti. Okay. That was a flash by Dean. I respect it, but I can really respect the attempt by to Callista ulti in and out the Gragas, but I do believe that Kayle is just going to kill everybody. Absolutely repulsive. The Elder Dragon just is having none of it, and Rift Sharks actually come back and take this game 1. What an exciting game 1 from both of these teams. Well played, honestly, from both teams at so many different points in the game. I mean, Spectres very favored at the beginning of this game, going into mid-game, but that Kayle just managed to get on the line and scale. She as her name does imply, she did outscale, and she was just laying into the side of Spectres in the late game, and I cannot credit Dean enough for being the person that basically allowed his team to have an in, and I mean, playing through him through bot side really just allowed the game to be played, I guess. Like, but Spectres, man, Savaris was playing that game really well. Savaris and Cesarius both absolutely laying a waste. Cesarius only dying 4 times that entire game. Just absolutely outputting ridiculous amount of damage. But unfortunately, he just could not close it out into the side of Rift Sharks. I don't even know who to give MVP to. Dean played absolutely outstandingly. I guess I'll have to give it to Dean. Yeah, I guess I gotta give it to Dean. Just out of pure... Without his facilitation of the early game, I don't think this KO would have had a opportunity to scale. So, honestly, just really well played by Dean there. Just finding the ins for his team to not falter, not lose. Man, I'm lightheaded after that game. That was a doozy. That was a doozy of a game. Like, honestly, just so well played by so many people. Let's see if I can pull up. I'm not on the right slideshow, I don't think. Yeah. Whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and give Dean the MVP for that game. Just absolutely so well played. But I do really want to see Spectres bounce back, and because I mean I know I've been hyping up Rift Sharks for like the last 20 minutes because they just played the second half of that game so phenomenally, but Spectres played the first like 50%, like the first half of that game absolutely phenomenally, but unfortunately playing the first half well and playing the second half well, you'll always favor the second half since, you know, the second half is when the Nexus explodes. But man, you really have to be kicking yourself if you're Avery right now. Not pressing the ulti is just so unfortunate on that Nexus die, or on that backdoor attempt. So unfortunate. Okay, I'm making sure they don't forget about me. I mean, yeah, so Rift Sharks did play that second half very well, but I mean, you really you just gotta realize if you're Spectres that you should have probably won that. Well, not probably, you should have won that game. Just one tiny mistake that just kind of snowballed, like ever since that moment when, you know, Avery went down to try and get the backdoor, and then Savaris TP'd in to try and end, but he wasn't able to end either, and then it just snowballed from there, and that just, so many shutdowns came in. Dean collected a lot of shutdowns, Michael collected a lot of shutdowns. It just really went downhill from there, but you were so close. So I really hope that Spectres do not lose heart, and they come back and just bring out a banger game 2. Because, I mean, and I expect them to deliver. I do not think that they'll fall under the pressure. I don't think they'll get up all in their heads about like, oh my god, I can't believe we lost. I think that they'll bounce back, realize, hey, we made like 1 or 2 mistakes that were really, really big and cost us that game, but that was our game to win. So now they're going to come in and just show us a performance that, yeah, they should have won game 1, got a little unlucky, but, you know, now we'll come back in game 2 and show what should have happened. Okay. Let's see. Other performances that, you know, I'd like to talk about is Thomas and Jonah on the Zac and on the Zac and on the Galio. You know, it was a little rough for Thomas at the beginning on the Galio, but, you know, he brought it back, became a very, very big meat shield, bought a lot of time for his carries to just free fire, and especially Jonah. Jonah on the Zac was absolutely killing it in the mid to late game with his engages and his, I mean, just being a tanky, blobby little man. I mean, by the time they chewed through his health bar plus his passive, I mean, the entire side of Spectres was just dead. So, something that I'd like to see an adaptation from my tanky little blobby man. He is a very tanky and blobby little man. But one adaptation that I would like to see the Spectres, I guess, adapt, an adaptation that I'd like to see them adapt is maybe drop the Singed ban and just ban out the Kale instead, because giving Rift Sharks that just super late game insurance character just feels really bad, just from the way that the game seemed to go, because Spectres just seem to have a really good grasp on the early game. So if they're confident enough to beat, if Avery's confident enough to beat Michael on like a Singed pick or something similar, like a less ultra hyper late game scaling character, like you know, the Kale, then I mean that game I think would have just easily just been a Spectres W if the Kale was just replaced by anything else. So I'd like to see that adaptation. The rest of the bans I think are completely fine, but I would like to see Kale go. For Rift Sharks, I feel like you have to know that Savaris is going to play one of these, you know, these Silases, these Akalis, champions like that. He just has always, in my experience, just gravitated towards these type of characters. Even when he's losing the games, he's still performing well. And I think out of the two, Silas and Akali, because these are just the two most powerful at the moment, Silas, I think, is just better, and they should look to take off the board if they want to draft team comps. Like, they just have amazing ultis, like the Ashes and the... I'm drawing blanks on characters they just drafted. Callista, things like this. Things like the Galio. Like, yes, in theory, Galio 1v1 neutralizes Silas. I think overall, Silas actually just beats the Galio. So, unless they have a different pick to pick into the Silas, I would prefer to just ban out that Silas, because Savaris, that early game jungle invade was very, very good by Rex and Savaris. It is just really well played. So, which let them just snowball pretty until, you know, it did go a little south with the double kill going on to the other person, but onto the Callista, but it ended up being a 2-for-2. So, in my opinion, I think if you're going to force him onto the Akali and you just want to play the Galio anyways because you think your role is to just be just a frontline tanky, disengage, peel, but also engage, you know, like I didn't dislike the Galio pick, but I would prefer if they played the Galio into the Akali, or I don't know, maybe he'll opt towards something like a Victor instead of the Sylas. So I think Sylas could go. TLDR. Talk as long as possible to just say maybe ban the Sylas, but I don't think it's too important to ban. It's just a thought from an outside perspective. Other than that, I don't know. The rest of the bans are fine. I don't know. That's just a weird game to think about in retrospective because Spectres just had the win. It was just right there. Like they had the win, but just unfortunately just fell through. So, I mean, if you're the side of Spectres, I mean, you can't be too upset. Like, you can be too upset, but you can't be too upset about how that game went. It's just we didn't end the game when we should have. When the game was won, like we should have won, and we didn't win. So unfortunate, super unfortunate. But draft definitely wasn't the problem, outside of maybe the Kale. We should have won. Let's just go back into it with good mental and let's try and actually finish it up this time. So trying to figure out how to fix a bug right now. Because I don't know how to fix like some stupid. Okay, it seems like client is bugging out for a couple of people. Might have to remake this lobby. I'm still trying to figure out how to fix a bug on my end, but I don't know how to do it, so it is what it is. What happens if I hit this? Okay, that doesn't do anything. What happens if I do this? Okay. Nope. Okay, well, kill John Lennon, I guess. I'm not sure what's going on. I think the lobbies are like dying. I'm gonna go refill my water. I'm a very thirsty boy. Before this banger game 2 between Rift Sharks and Spectres. So I'm gonna go do that while they sort out the bugs and fix draft. Okay. Apparently they just drafted without ever dropping me the draft link. Oh wait, never mind. I'm just blind and stupid. I'm super blind and super stupid. I thought I was talking for like way longer than I should have been. Okay, so we can just go over this while the whatever is whatever. Okay, so what ended up getting picked? We had Ash first pick, followed by the Lux Ezreal, Jhin, Vi, and then a Kale. I don't know who's blue and who's red. I feel like this is like the... Yeah, no, okay, yeah, this is right, this is right. This is correct. So... no adaptations from the bans. They banned Jarvan first rotation instead of second rotation. Spectres did. I mean, which did let the Kale get through. But the answer this time was Darius instead of the Tryndamere, which I like the Darius. He beats, I mean, he obviously will beat the Kale, but I don't necessarily like the Ahri blind when they're showing Zach Ezreal, but Cesaris did decide to just blind the Ahri, even with the Silas up. I guess they just wanted more range. They decided to go for the Vi Ahri combo, very, very classic combo, but Thomas did decide to counterpick with the Lissandra, which is one of Ahri's worst matchups. She starts dashing around. Lissandra just presses R, presses W, presses Everfrost. Ahri can't move. Feels really bad. So, in isolation, Spectres have winning top. I would say even jungle, Vi versus Zac. I mean, they're both just ganking junglers. I'd just call it even. Losing mid. And then the bot lane, kind of just even. Just poke versus poke. Jhin Ashe versus Ezreal Lux. I'd probably slightly give it to the Ezreal Lux, but I think Jhin Ashe is easier to play. No, I'd probably give it slightly to Jhin Ashe. And one important thing to note is Hong Baba is actually in for Kathy. So even though that says Spectres Kathy on your screen as the support for Spectres, Hong Baba actually has come in to, yeah. He's actually come in to be the support this game. So Kathy subbed out, Hung Baba subbed in. Hung Baba piloting that Ashe. So if I had to pick a team who won drafts, I do like the Rift Sharks Kale. The Kale Ezreal looks really good to me in this game, but if Darius gets just insanely ahead, if Vi just plays for topside, then I think it'll be really hard for Kale to scale, just like last game. Because last game, she shouldn't have been able to scale. It's just very, very, very unfortunate. Yeah, I mean... Let's see if I can... Okay, we're about a couple seconds away from getting into this game. Okay, I actually have a list of the players. Maybe I'll be able to remember to say their names instead of calling them by their champions. I'm still semi-new to this server. I joined this season compared to a lot of people who've been here for a while, so... I'm the new guy on the casting bench. Trying my best to learn people's names. And we are in game. There we go. Go ahead and pull this up like this and this, and we are chilling. Okay. Turn this off. Awesome. Okay, so we just have this level 1 invade again from the side of Rift Sharks. Lux Binding does go a little wide, so nothing will come of the play. Ward, aggressive ward onto the blue buff. And if you can see on the map, Rift Sharks is actually pinging that they're wary of an invade from bot side. Or not an invade from bot side, but of the bot lane of Spectres to be in that bottom bush. So Zach is looking for a binding, maybe? Maybe looking for something, but decides to just call it off. So the bot lane of Rift Sharks will be leashing. Ooh, we do have some level 1 shenanigans from Hongbaba and Cesarius. And they are walking straight into it. There's going to be a big fight. Lux Binding does hit Hongbaba. They are focusing down 2 different targets, unfortunately. Exhaust does come out onto Cesarius. Zach is in the general direction. Heal and Flash expended by the AD carry from Rift Sharks. Oh, somehow the binding does land. Zach is still in the area. But overall, it will just be both sums off of the AD carry from Spectres. Oh, but Flash is used by the Ezreal, but he will pick up first blood onto the AD carry of Spectres. Hongbaba looking for a solo bolo with the barrier that was never popped. He is playing very close to the sun and is taken down by Dean. 2-4-0 after that trade. Unfortunate, a couple bindings hit that maybe could have been dodged, but that really well played from the side of Rift Sharks, just tethering that bot lane matchup as much as physically possible. And overall, just hard winning, getting 2 kills under AD carry Ezreal. That's a Sheen, that's a tier if he wants the tier. And Vi is down here, but she's a little too late, and which means that she's most likely not going to be pathing from bot. She pathed from top to bot, but now will probably be pathing back up towards that top side, away from her bot lane, which is very unfortunate. Some heavy trading in the mid lane. Oh, Charm goes wide. This might be bad for Savarius. There is an Ignite. It's not dropped. Oh, Flash for Flash, and 1 for 1. Both mid laners falling to the Ignite. Both burning all their sums. Overall, trade favored more towards the side of the Rift Sharks since Savarius lost that wave. Vi is coming in for the gank. Remember, no flash on the Ezreal. He might be the focus here. Good E buffer. Cleanse comes out, but you have to assume he's going to fall. Dies to Hongbaba. Shut down. 450 gold in that support Ash's pocket. Not necessarily the person you want it on, but it is what it is. Avery just collecting this top side wave as they know that Joan is just in the area. No need to play aggressive. This is probably I thought that I thought that Thomas was going to take that E, try and stun him up for the Zac, but I guess they're looking now. If we just zoom out a little bit more, try and get a more of this Zac play that is potentially coming. If Cerberus does not die to this gank, then he will have wasted... Not in range, but he does get McGrippa'd. No ignite, but red buff is ticking, and takes a tower shot, and here comes the Vi. Rex looking to pick up a double kill, but Jonah pathing into his Lux, into Zac. So they're just going to have to drop chase. Or will they? Rex is out for blood. Punch is charged. No flash. So both sides will just walk it out. Really well played by Cerberus on that mid lane play to de-escalate the situation without even having the ultimate ability available. And then good job by Rex to realize that there's just a super aggressive play being made mid and capitalizing and punishing Punisher the Fifth. Punishing Thomas on that overextension, honestly. A little outside of Zac jump range, so they couldn't combo CC optimally. And without the ignite, really was just unfortunate. Speaking of things that are unfortunate, looking towards the top side, the Darius is actually down a little bit of CS currently, but I mean, he does have a bigger wave to collect. He's up. Assuming he gets all of this, it'll be about even, but a play is being made mid. We can actually rewind and watch that. If I can turn on time controls. We can go back maybe 30 seconds. See what happened here in the mid lane. Get the replay. Okay, so Cerberus just sees an all-in potential. Mistimes the Q, but ultimately it doesn't matter. Auto gets him dead. Solo bolo by Cerberus, and then even though Jonah jumps in to try and save his already dead laner, Rex is just here to cover, and it's just a double kill onto this Ahri. And with the jungler of Rift Sharks dying, Spectres are just going to see this as an opportune chance to go ahead and steal away some camps, maybe look for a pick on the Lux. Ultimately, they don't know he's there. He didn't show on the ward, so they're probably going to just try and transfer this into... I guess nothing. I guess it'll just de-escalate. Speaking of de-escalation, top lane looking like something might happen, but ultimately not. And even though Spectres got the double kill on mid and jungle, because they opted to go for the blue buff instead of opting in to go for the Drake, the Rift Sharks are actually going to be able to just start up this Drake. I assume there should be a contest, but it's getting awfully low. A steal, it's a 50-50, just burger flip it, and Ahri actually manages to steal it. Cesaris on the backline just free hitting onto the Lux, but oh, he flashes out though. Vault Breaker comes in from the Vi. Flash from the Lux gets away, but what is going on? Rex does manage to fall at the very end. Just zoom out a little bit more. This Ashe is just peppering him down, but does trade 1-for-1 for Lissandra. Savaris has no more ulti charges. I mean, he's probably just gonna... Oh, but it just came up. And he manages to escape. I thought he just ran out of charges, but no, his ultimate just came up. This big bot wave will die to tower, though, and Rift Sharks will pick up a plate, but overall, you can't be too upset with that if you're the Spectres, or the Rift Sharks, honestly. Trading heavy resources for... They got the Dragon Steel and are immediately Rex is just walking up to this Rift Herald. Oh yeah, I should probably, like, get rid of this time controls. So the Rift Herald will go to the side of Spectres, which means they've now secured both of the neutral objectives. But with an Essence Reaver fully completed for the side of Dean, this Ezreal is very strong. Very, very strong. Arya's opting to go into the Ludens this game. Looks like there's a play onto not Avery, onto Michael here, but Zach is in the area. Hongba is just slowing him by a lot, and I mean, you have to assume this is just going to be a dive. Yeah. Jonah is just gonna have to kite this out, but Savaris, unfortunately, prioritizing the Kayle instead of just going on the free kill onto the Zach, which would have given him his ulti charge back to commit onto the Kayle even more. So I think there is a small misplay there, but Rift Herald was dropped top while that dive was taking place, and it's going to be full first tower. Actually it's not, but 4 plates into the pockets of Spectres. Red buff potentially getting stolen away. Smite is available. Smite is available. Neither side smites. There might just be a play on Thomas here just by, I mean, pure act of, he is going to fall to the Ignite. A little overzealous. So Cerberus managing to pick up the kill, except it's Hongba that gets the kill, and I mean, Jonah can't move. Ashe just slows him by 1,000%, and that's another kill into the pockets of Cerberus. He's getting a little out of control on this Ahri. 4, 1, and 3, matching the kill score of Dean, the Ezreal, on the other side of the Rift. You have to assume that Cerberus is going to base and get full Mythic off of that, along with potentially a half an item towards his next item. The Black Cleaver is completed for Rex. Very, very strong. The Kayle is just farming it up. She has lost a lot of waves. There could potentially be a play. The Q does go wide. He does get the slow. No apprehend coming out, though. So he's just going to have to disengage from this. Just try and collect the wave. Dragon is up in 30 seconds. So the two big people to look at here are, I think, the mid-jungle from both teams. Leandri's is completed for the side of Thomas on Rift Sharks, so not falling too behind in the item department, but Zach is down first item. Cerberus might have a pick. Get a very big zoom out. There's a lot of pieces going on and a lot of places. Like Ahri, full committing onto Logan. Charm goes wide, nothing will come of it. Curtain call from the Jhin. I assume more for vision than anything. Hongba still does have that Crystal Arrow available. And Vault Breaker is still available. They do secure the Dragon. Now it's just a matter of cleanup. Crystal Arrow goes wide, but Jonah is in the middle of it. He's just going to fall in passive. Oh, and Dean barely misses the True Shot Barrage, but nice flash. Oh, the Vault Breaker does come out, and that's just going to be a double kill for the Vi for the side of Spectres. Absolutely amazingly played by the side of Spectres. Just seeing angles, seeing that Jonah has just went in a little bit too far and singling him out and then catching... Oh, but while I'm talking, there's actually a 1v1 going on mid, and Cerberus just absolutely cleans him up. I mean, he's just so ahead at this point. 9 stacks on the or on the Dark Seal. The Lysandra just does not have the damage to just burst him down in a situation like that from behind without Ludens even going more on Leandre's teamfight build, which I'm not sure if it's that good when you're solo AP, but I mean, I guess you're not solo AP. I'm just lying. I don't know. I think it's fine. It's a fine Leandre's, but you can't play like you're a burst mage. Need the Ludens. Okay, so now this Ahri is just completely out of hand. But there is looking to be a top lane dive. Crystal Arrow does hit Mita's market. Ghost pop by Avery. Have to assume this is just the apprehend. Into spin. Into dunk them! Kill on the side of Spectres. Get in there and dunk them! And dunk them they did. Good roam by Hong Baba. That secures them first. Was it first turret? I don't know if Ezreal got turret before, but did secure them that tower gold at least. We're seeing a very similar story to what happened last game. Cerberus playing really well, winning his mid lane matchup pretty comfortably, especially the fact that it's a counter matchup. He's just okay. Crystal Arrow goes a little wide. We see Avery winning top in isolation. He's up 50 CS, just like I said last game. And jungle, I would say, is definitely going to Rex right now. Like, he's, I think, been out jungling Jonah mostly this game. But Avery is kind of in Africa right now, but I think he'll be able to just leave. He has no ghost, but he does have the flash, but Jonah decides to drop chase, even with the bot lane in tow, and Hongball is actually tagged by the binding, and that you have to assume that's just going to be a kill. We do not talk about that true shot barrage. He must have, I think he accidentally clipped his mini-map. Speaking of people that not sending their globals in the wrong direction, good Crystal Arrow by Hongball. You have to be kicking yourself if you're Dean. I think he clicked his mini-map based on where the based off of where he was trying to aim it. It's he was trying to shoot like in the bottom left of his screen or bottom right of his screen, and that's where the mini-map is. And he shot that ulti 180 degrees in the wrong direction. So unfortunate mistake. But on the top side of the map, Darius did blow his flash off screen. I'm not sure really what happened, but they are going to go ahead. Spectres are just going to drop the Rift Herald, get that second tier 2 mid tower. Hongbaba lives on 1 HP after getting hit by the whatever Lux ulti's called, I forgot. Binding Light, by the light. That one. And they're just going to go ahead and take resets. You have to assume there's just going to be major items purchased. Yeah, I mean, full second item completed by Hongbaba, full Shadow Flame completed by Cerberus, the Aegis of the Legion, and the Kindle Gem completed for the Vi, building towards what I assume to be a Jack shows. I mean, this game is eerily reminding me of the first game, but we know how the first game went in the end. Fighting over third dragon, it's Infernal Rift this game. Got the Darius just walking forward. Crystal Arrow finds the target of the KO, and she's just absolutely out of position, completely one-shot. Good job on Hongbaba for finding these picks. Cerberus is in there, kiting in and out while they take the dragon. This just seems impossible for Rift Sharks to contest. I assume they're just going to give the dragon to the side of to the side of Spectres. Trying to steal it with some globals, but all in all, to no avail. This is something that Spectres were not able to do too well last game, which is stack the dragons nice and early with their lead that they accumulated. Another crystal arrow just hitting the Zac in the face, and that's just a picked Zac, just out of position. They have no wards. Rift Sharks have no idea where anyone is, and Hongbaba is. We need a crystal arrow counter. He is absolutely lighting up the side of Rift Sharks with these Ash ultimates. Something worth pointing out. This Kale, Michael did decide to opt for AD Kale. He died topside while I was trying to figure out what his name is. I mean, I think AD Kale sucks. Really bad. And with so much success that they had with the AP, I mean, I guess they just thought that they had too much AP. What a crystal arrow. Cleanse does come in, though. So, but Flash is burned by Hongbaba, so, I mean, Cleanse for a Flash. I mean, Ash Flash is not too overly important. And that is angles that you are now allowed to look. Hongbaba looking maybe a little overextended, but he'll be able to just run away. Get out of there pretty comfortably. At this point, the game is looking pretty bleak for the side of Rift Sharks. With this AD Kale, I'm not sure if they can turn it around. It's gonna take some more miracle plays and a lot of scaling. The Flash Entomb actually comes in from Thomas. Does pick off and get the shutdown on the Ahri onto your Ezreal, which is who you wanted on. As Binding finds on the Jhin. Does force a flash. Curtain Call comes out as the Vi goes in. Decides to Vault Breaker the Ezreal. If she can one-shot the Ezreal, Ezreal does fall. Oh, and it's just a disaster. It was looking so good for the side of Rift Sharks, but maybe Kale can kite out, but unfortunately Rex is a little too tanky with this Radiant Virtue, and Black Cleaver completed. Manages to catch him out and send him packing, all while Avery has just been absolutely decimating. Took tier 2 tower, took tier 3 tower, and I have to assume this is just an inhib that is going to be taken. Realizes it's actually I don't think it's a bad inhibitor. I think that's actually a really good inhibitor, but you can't overstay. There's no point in dying. I'm curious to see if they're looking towards this Baron. It is warded by the side of Rift Sharks, but not sure if Spectres want to necessarily try and overforce. Hongbaba is being quite devious with his positioning. Trying to look for more picks. I assume this Crystal Arrow is going to find the Zac, and that's just going to be a charm into... Ooh! I have no idea what just happened. I don't know how that Zac didn't get CC'd. I don't know what just happened. That guy should have died. But again, good Crystal Arrow from Hongbaba. He is just... Chris Kyle, a.k.a. the American Sniper. Kale is collecting side waves in isolation, 4 levels away from that 16 power spike, but that level 16 will be a lot weaker since she's going AD in opposed to AP. So, it's looking like... Oh, the engage on here from Rift Sharks. Looking good, but unfortunately Sarvers is just so fed in the back line. Try and zoom out to see both parts of this fight. Curtain Call from the Jhin. Sarvers picks up the kill on the Lux, and it's just Blobby Schmerda all alone, and no much jelly woeing could possibly save him from this reckoning from Spectres. They are punching back in this game number 2. They said, you know what? We might have lost game 1, but we lost game 1 of our own volition. We didn't lose because you guys outplayed us. We lost because we misplayed ourselves. We outplayed ourselves. So they're really looking to punch into the base of Rift Sharks. 2 inhibitors down, and their soul has just spawned. have to assume that they're just going to make their way down towards that dragon, get the soul. If a contest comes in and they just wipe them at the contest, then probably just going to be an end, but otherwise it'll probably just be a march towards Baron with soul and purple and just blow open this game. Oh, 77 HP. Potentially could have been stalled out if that Ezreal did steal, but well played by Rex, smiting that away. Well, smiting it away. He missed smite, but he punched it, so he smited it with his fists like a man. Well, he's a Vi, so like a woman, in a good way. Never mind. That was funnier in my head than it was out loud. Just fucking ignore that. That was fucking awful. That was awful. Okay, well, Baron has spawned, and Spectres is wearing the Infernal Soul permanent buff. You have to assume that... I realistically do not see a way in which the Rift Sharks are able to... Oh. And the arrow does land good. All these crystal arrows are just amazing, but... I mean, Michael is just completely out of position. There was a Darius behind him anyways. He had no right stepping up to that wave. It's just completely illegal. And he's promptly punished for it. And now that the game is 4v5, Spectres just make their way to the Baron and decide, maybe we want to end this game. Yeah, maybe we should just get purple and try and end soon, you know. Rectify the mistakes we made in the past games. Lux ulti trying to steal a little early. He's actually Chris Kyle, by the way. Has Hong Baba missed all game? I've yet to see every time I'm talking about these arrows, it's just okay. Hung Baba shoots an arrow and he misses. It's a shoot and a score. Nice flash E, but really good flash by the side of Dean. Cerberus lives on 1 HP, gets flashed on by the Kale, but Kale does have to fall for it. Darius flashing in point blank range and just absolutely murders this Lux. Unfortunately, they couldn't get the pick on Dean, which does have 3 completed items, but I see no way that this Ezreal can defend. Nice Flash Gale Force. Another Chris Kyle arrow. Get in there and dunk them! And that's going to be game 2 taken by the side of the Spectres. Absolutely amazing showing in this game 2. Just turning around, showing that we should have won this series 2-0, but... You know, we made a bit of a mistake, and we're going to come back, we're not going to lose heart, and we're just going to absolutely destroy in this second game, putting us onto a game 3. I mean, that was just so well played by the side of Spectres. The rotates by Hong Baba to the top side, absolutely immaculate. Just make sure that this Kale cannot play the game. Darius is just up a infinite CC. Sarver is absolutely just tearing the map apart. Like, I mean, Euro is Anne, not Rex. Oh, well, they told me that Rex was playing. I guess they subbed in the other guy. They subbed in Anne. I even knew that. I knew that Euro was Anne, not Rex. But, yeah. I mean, I'm just going to have to give that MVP to Sarverus. Absolutely just... He gets completely counterpicked. One of Ari's worst matchups, especially in 5s. And absolutely just tore mid lane apart while just having a complete and utter dominant impact on the map everywhere else. Second runner-up would definitely be Hong Baba. Dude did not miss an arrow. He's actually literally Chris Kyle. He is the American sniper. He just doesn't miss. So... Okay, okay. Yeah, so, I mean, those two, I feel like the support mid and jungle especially, and just absolutely amazing Vi showing. Lots of good not face breakers. Whatever Vi punch is called. Lots of good Vi Qs. Lots of good vault breakers. Comboing really well off of the Ash Arrow into a Vi Q and Ari Charm into Vi Vault Breaker into absolutely destroying and ripping through the side of Rift Sharks. Very, very, very well played. Very, very well played, honestly. So, I mean, it just felt like the Rift Sharks just could not breathe into this draft. I really like this the combo of Cerberus and Anne, not Rex. All the times I said Rex last game, it wasn't Rex, it was Anne. That is completely my fault. So, basically that. It just felt I felt the synergy so well. I hope they can continue it up. Okay, we actually are into the next draft phase. Hold on. I'm slow. I'm a slow man. Okay, so bans have come out. We see Varus Blitzcrank and Malzahar for the side of Spectres. Spectres are staying on blue side. Rift Sharks still opting in for the red side. And Udyr, Caitlyn, and Jax for the side of Rift Sharks bans. And Annie is just first picked away. I was wondering if we were going to see the Annie at all. I think this character is completely overtuned. Realistically, a duo flex between mid and support. If your name is Blake, you'll pretend that it can go top and AD carry. I disagree, but that guy's insane. So, hold on, let me just... This is Anne. This is Hong Baba. Don't you guys love Taxi Cast? They're so scuff, it's awesome. They're so scuff, it's awesome. The Vi is actually taken away by the side of Rift Sharks, and Poppy is locked in. Okay, people are like... Okay, and then... This Poppy made me check my second monitor, because they do all this stuff. Okay. So, Joel is the top laner. And... Eric, I misspelled his name, is a support. There we go. It's the names under the people. Thomas is Healy. I don't know, man. There's so much garbage. I don't care. Thomas is Healy. Whatever. So Joel is known as a Poppy one trick when it comes to the top lane, so no surprise seeing Poppy blind picked like that, but I also think that the pick is absolutely terrible here. I don't like it. I understand that that's just his top lane champion, so, I mean, there's Joel in the top lane, you have to, he's just going to play Poppy, but when only Annie is showing, I feel like it can be so abused. With the Vi, we saw how much work the Vi could put in, so I do like the Vi pick here. Well, I don't know. Engaging into Annie, especially if it's Annie support, could be really sus. But they respond with Ezreal, which I'm not a huge fan of the Ezreal here into the Vi. We saw how much power that this Vi can bring against the Ezreal. You could debate that you could do that with any AD carry, but I would prefer having something that's better at standing their ground, and then maybe drafting like a Tahm Kench or a Enchanter. So to try and peel, like a Lulu maybe, so maybe try and go for like Jinx Lulu, Aphelios Lulu, Thresh, something like this, but they don't. I don't hate the Ezreal, and then the Elise, I think Elise is absolutely broken. Do what you want with that character. She's so stupid, and Spectres has proven that Anne is very good at just playing the map and getting these dives off. I mean, absolute monster last game. So if he can take that momentum and take it into this game, I think this Elise is going to run the server. Ashe locked in for Rift Sharks does show that potential flex between AD and support. It's just a power pick this patch. Bans, nothing too interesting. Tryndamere taken off, Callista taken off for Avery and Dean respective, because they both had amazing performances on both of the characters. And then we see a Mumu, which is a Mumu support, I have to assume. Unless that's mid lane Vi and a Mumu jungle, but you're not that cool. Rift Sharks, I'm sorry, you're not that cool. You're not doing that. So, probably a Mumu support with the Ashe. Lots of lockdown, Ashe to carry. Sarverus just wanting to run back the Ahri. I mean, he had an absolutely, like, blowout performance last game. So, just stick to what you're good for. And then, how does Sion die this game? That is an excellent question that everyone just asked. The answer is, he doesn't. He does not. Even with this Orianna last pick, Orianna being sole AP, I mean, she has to go. She's not hurting this Sion. This Sion just stacks armor with like a Jack shows, and he just will never die. I think Spectres, it is any support, as can be expected, but well, after we see the Ahri lock, obviously, but I mean, holy, I think Spectres, I think Spectres have won all three the last two drafts. I think they absolutely destroyed this draft. I don't see where the damage from Rift Sharks is to be able to win this game. They have no damage. I just don't see how Sion is going to die. It looks really hard. Hold on, let me... make all of the garbage on my screen disappear. Taxi streams. Taxi cast is awesome. But, I mean, if Savaris plays remotely as well this game as he did last game on the Ahri pick, I think it is going to be wraps. They do have pretty good lockdown. Cesaris did end up picking the Ahri with Poppy and Ashe showing, and a Mumu showing, so there is a lot of lockdown for this Ahri, but with how mobile Ahri is, and how mobile Ezreal is, if both of them are getting hit by... and Vi showing, I actually think this would be a very hard game for Savaris to play on this this Ahri pick, but I mean, last game he absolutely showed me that even into the worst matchup that pro players at least seem to think, which is Lissandra, he absolutely just destroyed 1v9 the game. Well, not 1v9. Yeah, he had a very, 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 very good team behind him, but I think this game will be a little bit more difficult for him to play, and I'm not sold on the Ezreal. The more I look at the draft, the more I still favor Spectres drafts, because Sion can't die, but Sion also can't, like, kill everybody. So it just depends on how much space that Avery can make on this Sion pick. I'm really interested to see the Annie support. I wonder if the Annie support from Hongbaba is an adaptation because of all the level 1 mini invades that have been happening around Topside River this entire series. Because Annie, if you didn't know, she did get changed, and she now gets her stun whenever you recall or die, whenever you're coming out of base, basically. So, essentially, she has the best level 1 invade in the entire game now, because if you skill W, you can now stun, and you have Malphite ulti. Like, you have Malphite ulti level 1 that is harder to hit, and you have to flash to get it to work usually. But if you're like stacking a bush and then they all face check you, you can just 5-man stun everybody. Or you have if you opt into skilling Q level 1, then you can basically point and click guarantee Twisted Fate gold card on somebody, which is less good than 5-man disintegrating, but it's still very, 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 very strong, obviously, right? So, man, I thought I was gonna have a co-cast come in with me eventually. He left me out to dry. So I hope y'all have appreciated the solo cast. I've been trying my hardest. Keep it hype in the chat. Try and make the games as interesting as physically possible, but Rift Sharks and Spectres have made my job about as easy as possible for making these games hype, because these games have been absolutely amazing. They've been so exciting to watch. That game 1 was absolutely insane. That game 2 was just such a dominant showing by Spectres. Very, very entertaining to watch. I really, really hope that Rift Sharks maybe can find their footing a little bit earlier in this game, because they've looked good, but they're just falling so behind so early that it's just hard for them to play out these mid and late games if mistakes are not being made from the side of Spectres. So, with the roster swap, with Joel coming in to the top lane and with Healy coming into mid lane, and I think with one more swap that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. Hold on, I wrote it down. And with Eric, the GOAT, coming in for support, I think it can be a very, very, very interesting match, because these players have a little bit different dynamic compared to players previously. Thomas, more a supportive player in the mid lane for Rift Sharks, playing the Lissandras, playing the Gallios, but now Healy coming in and saying, no, I want to play AP Mage Carry, I want to play Orianna. And Joel coming in and not playing the super, super weak side Kayle, I can't really do anything, but I'll try my best to scale and win eventually. That didn't happen second game, but it did happen the first game. But so now we have a more lane focused top laner, so maybe top lane will not get completely blown out like it did the game prior. So I think there's a big perspective switch that will switch with these players coming in. I also do find it interesting that Rift Sharks opted into red side all 3 games. Time controls turn off. Okay, there we go. Here we go. Z, and let's see. I'm going to just put the camera on the Annie for right now, because Hongbaba, from shown in the last game, playing like a monster with those crystal arrows, could find himself in a little bit of trouble. What a snipe! And that's just going to be the flash off of the support from the side of Rift Sharks. Good bandage by Eric. Eric showing that even if you ban my Blitzcrank, I will just pick a Moo and I will do the exact same thing. I will hit hooks, wraps, potato. I am out here to win on these engage style hook champions. He just does not miss. Even if it did look like that was going to miss, he just doesn't miss. So because of this, I would almost like to see an adaptation.
Hello?
Hello?
The game is not showing on screen.
Wait, is it not? Hold on. Is my thing broken? OBS. Put me in game. Please? Stop showing a black screen now. Okay, there we go. We fixed it. Sorry, I'm stupid. Thank you.
All good, all good. I would get on for the cast, but I have...
Yeah, you're playing or whatever. Oh, or whatever.
Really good cast so far.
Thank
good
you.
job.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you.
Peace. Okay, so I'm stupid. My OBS was all messed up and I didn't know it. I wasn't paying attention. Very sad. But basically what happened, a little bit of an invade. Hong Bob blue flash, but nothing too big other than that. So bot lane is just pushing. I feel like Dean is just very good about getting this push. Joel is also getting the shove here into Avery. Lots of shoving lanes, but Cerberus is the only person on the side of Rift Sharks that is shoving currently, and that does open him up to a gank. Speaking of, we have Jonah charging a fist, somehow missed. Charm goes wide, lots of whiffing, but overall, good trade by the side of Rift Sharks because they traded basically information on the jungler for nothing. Apparently, Poppy Flash on the top side of the map. A little bit of fist fighting going on up there. Flash for nothing while play was happening mid. Bottom is just bouncing out. Scuttle is just being secured on the top side by Jonah. Just might look for a regank onto Cerberus. Avoiding this ward. Now looking towards top side. This could be a big angle onto Avery here. Avery thinks he's in the isolated 1v1 to kill the Poppy. Poppy is no flash, but is just going to kite it out, and Scion is going to unfortunately fall. I'm not sure if hitting this wave is actually that good. If he can get the cannon, it'll be okay. Not horrible because he can get the cannon and TP back. He did not burn his flash, so that is still a tool that he has to play with, and kill is just on the bottom side of the map. Good cleanse. Call him Captain Jack. And with the good gank as Elise applying pressure, but I think that was really just a Hongba dropping Ignite and just 2v2 killing. Sorry, I'm a little lightheaded. Sorry if I'm like not doing a good job of panning my camera around. Dragon is being started up by Anne. I have to assume this is just going to be... his mid laner is in base, but the mid laner of Healy on side of Rift Sharks is also just going to take the base, so... And since nobody on the side of Rift Sharks knows, there could be an Ashe Hawkshot up to this side, but looking like no. Ever since this jungle gank, though, this wave has been kind of frozen on the side of Rift Sharks. Joel just holding that freeze as long as possible. They do now know there could be an all-out scrap here. But it's looking like they don't want to flip it, and the dragon is just going to go to the side of Spectres. Well played. Ezreal is a champion that I did not expect to be this prioed in the series, but he actually has been picked every time, in every game. As well as the Ashe. 2 Ashe supports, 1 Ashe 80 carry. Top lane, nothing too interesting happened, but we are going to see a roam down from Cerberus with the Elise, aka Anne, in the area. But it looks like everybody is just opting to press B on their keyboards. They are basing on a ward. The Annie does have flash. I'm looking... This could be a kill. No cleanse available for the side of Joel, but just half shot him and walk away. I mean, delay is base. Now he has to choose between basing or losing this wave. Except, I don't think they'll get it in time, so I don't think he'll actually lose too much. I think Cesaris could have actually just based on that wave. It would have pushed into him, and he could have bought. Now, topside, we were seeing the Sion ulti coming straight down mid lane, or straight down the river, but... Anne doing, not a hand, Anne played Vi last game. Jonah doing a good job of walking it out, but they decided to re-engage. The Poppy ulti Verdict's Keeper does come out. Nice pin into the wall. The Sion is out of mana. Amumu is here, and Eric O here to save the day. Really nice flash by Jonah to escape all that lethal damage, getting the tight angle across that wall, and Eric O just finding, you know, Hong Baba might have had the top lane roams last game, but Eric O showing that he can keep up with the roams and getting a double kill on the side of Rift Sharks off of that roam. Good timer. Now, Jonah is about half HP right now, staying around the Rift Herald. He is level 6 compared to Anne's level 4. Not really what you want to see. Flash Cocoon does unfortunately go wide. This kill could be huge, but unfortunately I think it's just going to be a fruitless endeavor. Okay, Eric O's stepping up, but this level 4 Elise is not doing too much damage. She is half the CS down on Jonah's. What? Guys, I gas up the Eric O rotate timers, and apparently Hong Baba just got to prove me wrong. Well, I'm trying to drink some water. I'm not looking at the map, and he just rotates top. We have 2 core JJJs in this game, and they're just finding the roam timers of the century. Both of these supports are making their impact felt right now. And off of that play, Rift Herald is going to be secured by the side of Rift Sharks. Cerberus is ulting around, but not too much to be found of it. He has his entire team behind him. Oh my god, a flash charm while being vault breakered. That is going to result in Healy maybe falling. No, he actually lives. Crystal Arrow does hit Cerberus, but it doesn't matter. Healy actually does end up falling on the tail end of that plate, a red buff, I believe. And Jonah just dies in the middle of 3 people alone, and this play has just completely turned from what seemed to be Rift Shark's winning play into Spectres absolutely just manhandling this play. Eric O kind of giving a kill for fun. Not sure what you necessarily call that one, but Sion is just mulching this tower. But on the other side of the map, Poppy is also mulching a tower on the top side, but she did not have a Rift Herald to assist her. First tower taken by the side of Spectres. That money in their pockets. Very nice. Oh, I forgot to turn on objective timers. Sorry. So the dragon has just spawned, and immediately on this Elise is just already hitting it, while Hongbaba is just running around the jungle getting as much vision control as possible. Healy could potentially be caught, but they're actually rotating Joel down for this. They do not want these dragons to start stacking. Ezreal could be in trouble. Crystal Arrow does go a little bit wide. They do secure the dragon, the Spectres do. Vaultbreaker onto the Elise. Orianna, Shockwave. Cerberus is just caught up in the middle of Poppy Stun, cannot move. They did not expect the Poppy to be down here. Hongbaba hit by the bandage toss from Eric O, and they got the dragon, but at what cost? I'll tell you the cost. 4 people and a shutdown on the side of Rift Sharks. Cesaris, if he's not careful, could also potentially fall. This is looking like a dive. No mana for Cesaris. This could go south pretty fast, but I think they're just going to opt. They just got a lot of gold. Just try and spend it, you know, and kite out. Topside fight happening up here. No mana on the side of Avery, and Joel will do his best, but Sion is a very, very tanky man. Black Cleaver has been completed for Jonah. And Hongbaba is looking for one of his game-changing roams, but who needs a support? Just have your AD carry run top. At this point, I think Avery should just commit. Unfortunately, he does die, but do go ahead and pick up the frag onto Jonah. The Ahri running around does land the charm on the Orianna. Stun from the Timbers. She's fine. Vaultbreaker into the middle of 4 people. Does kite it out, though. Nobody falls. And it ends up just being a 1-for-1 Sion for Ashe, but if you're the Spectres, you're not too displeased about that. You get their AD carry, so now they're not farming, and your AD carry is just left to last hit bot lane. And you're going to take a full tower off of that. Definitely a trade that Spectres are happy to take any day of the week. Ezreal has now completed a Triforce. He probably completed that a minute ago because he's been in lane for a while, and I probably just fell asleep and wasn't paying attention and missed it, but that is on the side of him. Ahri does just pick up her Ludens. First item now on the board for every one of Spectres, minus On's Elise, but that is to be expected given how much she was behind in the early game, but catching up slowly but surely, picking up kills here and there. Amumu does engage on. Ulti is burned, and Timbers is dropped, not before falling though, and Cerberus is going to pick up the 1-for-1 kill. Elise repels onto the Amumu. Great flash by Eric O. And they're looking to turn onto On. Vaultbreaker comes down. Command Shockwave. Not the best Command Shockwave, but did throw her in the wrong direction. But Joel is there to pick up the slack. Unfortunately, Jonah did burn Flash when he didn't have to because his Poppy was there. If the Shockwave was just held a little bit longer, it would have thrown him the opposite direction. But just the little things like that, could be big, because then he would have died without anyone burning Flash. And maybe this Vi Flash will be important in the near future. Cerberus still showing his prowess on this Ahri pick. Once again, 2-1 and 3, showing that this is a pick that you have to respect from him. And even if you do respect it, then he'll still find ways to get fed in the game. It's like the worst Ari game ever, and he's just still absolutely playing like a monster. And this entire time, Ezreal is just cat jamming in the bot lane. A death bush is being set up by Hongbaba. This is the power of this Annie support. You just sit in a bush with full stacks and potentially just die because you get completely caught off by the Poppy. You're not expecting the Poppy to be there, and then you get Crystal Arrowed in the face. Yoro does trade back onto the AD carry. Good bandage by Eric O. Flash comes out from Cesarius. Poppy boots the Ahri out of the backline. On does fall to the Poppy, and so far the trade has gone very much on the side of Rift Sharks. But Big Daddy Sion is here, and he is not taking any damage. Vaultbreaker onto the Ahri is just going to lock her down, and Spectres have just got to get out. Annie has respawned, but I think if she goes in, she will just be a zombie Sion. Eric O sacrificing himself so that nobody else dies to the stupid Sion zombie. Oh my god, Hongbaba actually is a freak of nature. What is he doing? He's... I'm too lightheaded for him to play like that. What are you doing? The Infernal Drink is secured by the team of Christian. What is he? You monster. Unfortunately, he does fall because he has no AP because he can't one shot with just a Shirelia's and a blasting one. Oh, that was funny. That so Rift Sharks are going to secure that objective. I'm glad I got to cast these games. This has been the most fun game of the season so far. I've watched all of the games either like on YouTube, like after the VODs, or I've casted them, or I've played them. This has been the most enjoyable to play / watch. Oh, what an experience from both teams. They are keeping it about as interesting as physically possible. TP is burned by Healy to get down to this bottom wave, so they're not going to have that resource available if Rift Herald becomes an objective that is being looked at by either team. Healy could potentially be in danger, but I think they just barely missed each other on vision, and Savaris will just get this tier 1 tower. Being hovered by Hongbaba, this is a pretty smart hover. But at the same time, with On starting Herald, I'm not sure I like not having my support here, so... Savaris does not have a TP, so he's just going to have to commit. Speaking of commit, we get a cleanse after the Crystal Arrow from Cesaris. Absolute monster champion. Command Shockwave into a Moo Bandage. Absolutely everything going on, and Tipper's chasing that guy. Andy is just going to fall. Hongbaba, Sarverus is just finding the picks after picks after pick. He gets Vaultbreaker in the face, though. Goes down to about 200 HP. But Sion is here to just absorb pressure. But Vi goes back in. There's a pin against the wall against On. On's going to fall. Sion does collect the bounty with the Q. And ends up being a 3-for-2 trade, positive for the side of Spectres. These team fights are crazy hectic. So much going on. Sarverus with the flank from bot side. I mean, really put in a lot of work. Somehow managed to live after getting facebreakered in the face. Or not facebreakered, vault-breakered in the face by Jonah, but does manage to walk away with about 150 HP and another kill in his pocket. Now, something I'd like to see from the side of Rift Sharks this game, ignore the voice crack, is maybe having Dean position a little bit better. I feel like he's just getting picked in a lot of these fights. Let's see, Chris Kyle, the American sniper, I'm gonna have to assume a shockwave? No? I mean, force him to burn ulti, maybe. No, okay. They're just gonna take their cooldown. Oh, Scion is running top. He is 2 levels down on Joel right now, though. Okay, well, while they're top 1v1, keep shifting bottom to see if a big team fight breaks out, because nothing's probably going to come of that. I just want to look here. Well, I mean, they're still not fighting, but Joel is kind of messing up this Scion. Scion does have 2 full completed items, by the way. Absolute tank monster. I'm not a fan of the Heartsteel, though. I think he just goes Jackshows and he'll never die. I think this Heartsteel does allow him to actually die. Okay, oh, we get the flash engage from Hongaball, absolutely just one-shotting Healy, and Eriko is forced to flash away. Stun comes in from the charm, but flash face full of breaker, vault breaker, everything's being broken. The faces are being broken, the vaults are being broken, my voice is breaking. Absolute cluster. Scion does TP in, though, and just completely turns the tide in the favor of Spectres. Holy. These fights, unfortunately, keep just being a little suboptimal for the side of the Rift Sharks. There is a Poppy TP. Good repel. Good repel. Let's see if he can just one-shot him, though. Scion is making his way back into the pit. Smite secured, and poor little Poppy, going to have to assume, is just going to fall. Now, that did stop the soul stacking. Wait. No, it didn't. Put him on soul point is what I meant to say. 3 dragons, basically, for the side of Spectres. This Infernal Soul will really just allow their pick comp with Annie, Ezreal, Elise. All really, really enjoy the extra damage that Infernal Soul will provide. A little bit of a poke ulti on Hongbao there. That Orianna combo did no damage. Unfortunate. Building towards that Luden, that Archangels on the Orianna. Not quite there, but the tier's fully stacked. I'm not a fan of how Dean is just walking in front of his entire team contesting wave. You can just allow the wave to push into you and then collect it as it's cleared by the enemy team. We've got Avery just doing Scion things, pushing out side lanes. How much health does this Scion have? 4.8 thousand. Absolute menace on the Rift. Realistically, I think the game should start to slow down until Soul for the until this next dragon spawns in 3 minutes. However, it is Hongbao versus Eric O, and you know that if you can see, both of these supports are willing to play like absolute monsters. And when you have 2 supports playing well, not point and click, but CC bots. Okay, the Crystal Arrow does manage to tag on. He gets CC'd up by the Mummy's Curse. That is going to not take him down. Stopwatch is used, but Repel is used. Shut down onto the Ashe. Vault Breaker does get pulled under tower. Savaris is going to survive. And at this point, it's just a disengage from the Rift Sharks. Flash knockup from the side of the Scion. Dean just tries to commit onto the Ahri and kill her, but just does not have the damage with this Ashe pick at this point in the game. Orianna E saving her from the True Shot barrage, and even though this game was close, I feel like all the fights are just being handedly won by this team side of the Spectres. As of right now, they had that one bad fight towards the bottom side of the map for the third Drake that spawned, but other than that, most of these fights do seem to be going in the way of the Spectres. If Orianna can get her Archangel Staff, I think the game becomes a lot more playable. Ari opted into... Okay, I was going to say that Ari opted into Seeker's Arm Guard plus Codex instead of picking up the stopwatch, which is a little suspicious, but she did change her mind and buy the stopwatch, so she presumably is pretty close to Zanya's, so she has one stopwatch, and then she'll have a Zanya's. Soon, she'll become a lot harder to punish. Unsung hero of this game is definitely just Cesaris. Or Cesarius, the Ezreal. I'm trying to differentiate Cesaris's and Sarverus's names. They're very similar names. Point-click CC comes out, but actually R flashes into the Crystal Arrow. Chain CC'd by the Poppy. She lives on 1 health. She cannot be taken down, and she manages to live with a shielding from the Annie E. So much burned, though. This is looking like a fight angle. We're probably going to see a Vault Breaker. No. Okay, dash over the side of the wall by Joel. But Shirelia's popped. Stun comes in. Eric, with a 4-man stun, and it's just absolute disaster for the side of the Spectres. Sion is here to try and clean up. They don't know. They don't see him in the bush. Oh, but really well played by the side of Joel to dash him out of the queue. With this Ash slow, I mean, Dean is just going to absolutely shred him down since he's by himself, and Cesarius gets pinned into the wall and is going to actually fall. A 4 for 0, a 4 for 2 trade, actually, on the backside of that. But still, absolutely and overwhelmingly favoring the side of Rift Sharks. That is exactly what they needed to come back into this game. Stop the soul stacking. Really nice time Zanya's. But he does have no ulti, and he's just going to get Crystal Arrowed in the mouth. Ace. Well, almost ace. Hangbaba respawned. And respawned. But staggered ace for the side of the Rift Sharks. Little wacky. Little fried brain. Oh, and without skipping a beat, the Baron is started by Spectres, but they'll realize that this is probably a fruitless endeavor and is a good way to just throw the entire game in the trash can. But Hangbaba, speaking of throwing the game in the trash can, is just going to walk up and face check absolutely nothing. Try and clear a pink ward. Will manage to escape with the movement speed from the E. And will be forced to base. I mean, what an absolute banger series this has been. Both teams putting up their best effort to win this game. Baron is being started up by the side of Rift Sharks. Amumu engage onto the Elise. Pops a stopwatch. TP comes in from the Orianna. Sion is ulting down through the mid lane. It's going to be a trade 1-for-1 jungler for support. And Shockwave command comes in from the Orianna. Absolutely shreds Hangbaba. Charm goes wide. It's going to be a 1-for-2 trade favoring the Rift Sharks. These mid-game team fights, this is where the Rift Sharks has proven that, yeah, you might have us in the early game lane phase, but if you let the game get to 30 minutes, our team fighting prowess is... We're just going to prove that we are better when it comes to that. So, Rift Sharks surprisingly claim the Baron and only trade a bot tier 2 for it. But they've also done, they being the Rift Sharks have also done an amazing job at stalling the soul for as long as possible. They've got 2 of the last 3 dragons. And Dean is just so fed at this point. 10, 7, 7, 4 items completed. He is in a position to carry this game. Speaking of carrying this game, Crystal Arrow comes out onto Cerberus. He's going to have to ulti out, but might fall. Oh, he flash auto'd a minion. That's a little disappointing. That's very sad. If you're Dean, you're like, darn, I messed that up. But the Scion just does not care. On is looking for a split push, very reminiscent of game 1, where it just kind of felt like Spectres feeling backed up against a corner maybe, and side laning just being their option of escape. Speaking of not escaping, Vault Breaker comes in onto the Cesarius, is going to have to flash away. Scion misses ulti and gets ultied out in response by Joel, and Rift Sharks are just going to claim 2 tier 2 towers for the price of 1 and reset. Most likely getting ready to claim Prio for this dragon. Spawning in 1 minute. Now remember, this is still the soul point. Like, this could potentially be soul for the side of Spectres, which could be the nudge that they need to just push this mid game into their advantage. Now, unfortunately, Savaris is sitting on a ward, is going to get Crystal Arrowed in the face. Command Shockwave into just everything. He does pop the Zanyas, but can maybe kite it out with the ultimate. We're not going to talk about that flash. Looking to punch over the wall, managed to land onto the Elise. It's an absolute cluster. Joel pins him up against the wall. Scion is in the middle. Joel is looking to die, but lives. Stopwatch comes out from the Vi while there's just 2 fights. I can't even zoom out enough. I have to watch the entire map. Zoom out for the entire map. Stopwatch pop with the Amumu. Does eventually fall. Cesarius misses the last Q, unfortunately. TP is coming in from the side of Poppy. I don't know, maybe Cerberus could find a miracle play, but... And the Drake is stolen by True Shock Barrage. Cesarius is showing why he is just playing this game so well. 4-1 and 12, 3 items complete. There's no jungler, and he just times it perfectly. Completely blind. That is heartbreaking if you're a member of the Rift Sharks. Win out that fight, but your jungler falls. You think you can do it, and it gets stolen by the Ezreal. How tragic. That is now Infernal Soul for the side of Spectres. I don't know why I stopped talking. I thought that my imaginary co-host was gonna start like saying something. But there is no God here. Only me. Speaking of only me, Cerberus is looking for a play over the wall. They spot out his ward, but they do see him. He is on a ward. Engage on from Eric O. Double Amumu wrap and just absolute one-shot Cerberus. Gonna okay, so that guy's probably just already dead. I'm not gonna look at him. Yeah, he's already dead. Poppy does get her ultimate canceled. Picked down by Cerberus. It is now a 3v4, but Cerberus might be able, or oh, he gets a Vault Breaker in the mouth. He does Arcane Shift away. He is outputting absolute insane amounts of damage. Unfortunately, not able to finish him off. Scion is getting kited for days. I said he couldn't die, and I guess I'm just wrong. He falls. But I think that does show with just looking at the health bars of both teams. If Rift Sharks find a really good pick on and onto Cerberus there, but I mean, with this Infernal Soul, I think if it's played front to back in the way that it should be played, if you are Spectres, then Spectres do seem to be favored in these fights. They almost were able to win a 4v3, but the Vault Breaker was not used on the topside fight, meaning that... Oh, and he just ease in her face and absolutely kills her. She was lost to the item shop. She was shopping for shoes, and Cerberus just decided he's not having none of it. And Spectres are going to just start up this Baron now that they got a pick. You have to assume this is just going to be an absolutely free Baron. Eric O is in the area, but it is just going to go to the side of Spectres. And just like that, off of one Dragon Steel, Spectres have completely flipped this game into a completely winning position. And the charge is coming down. Engaging on the Scion, I do not recommend it. Crystal Arrow comes and hits the Ahri in the face. She's probably going to fall. She's locked up for 10 years. She's CC for the rest of her life. Eric O gets in, but he does not have the ultimate. Well, he already used his ultimate, but so much damage coming in from Dean, but Dean is just going to fall. And even though it is 3 for 3 right now, Poppy is just immortal. And Rift Sharks just fire back. Overextension from the side of Spectres, being a little too antsy with this Baron, not respecting the Dean's Crystal Arrow. It just finds its mark on Cerberus, and he just dies without using anything. There's a TP in the base from the side of Keeley, but it's not looking like an indie yet, but it will be 2 inhibitors as a reward on the side of Rift Sharks. Really well played. Just understanding that they were completely just overextended. Cerberus wasn't playing behind a Scion, and well, from the angle that Dean had, and finding that arrow into Poppy, wall stun into Poppy, putting up her no dash field, and Ahri is just absolutely cucked out of the fight. Elder is up in 1 minute, and I'm inclined to believe that once again Cerberus is just allergic to not getting hit by these Ash arrows, just going to instantly fall. But it does look like Spectres are turning this fight with the DPS that they're getting from their Ezreal in the back. He's absolutely just laying waste. So yes, even though Savaris is caught once again, ultimately it does not matter. Flash punch, but onto the Scion, unfortunately. They're trying to reach the Ezreal. He manages to arcane shift over the wall. They have to focus their shift on the Scion. Another dude, what's with everybody like clicking on their maps? Fucking Ezreal ulti going to Africa. And minions are just being pushed into the base right now. Makes them feel like they have to base, but it does feel quite bad having to base in a situation like this with Elder spawning. Hung Baba is staking out in this bush. Probably just does manage to land that. I'm going to assume Tibbers into full combo. Let's see if Cesaris can do enough damage before the Vault Breaker comes out. Vault Breaker does come out. He does manage to fall. He cannot see... Poppy cannot CC him for long enough. This Ezreal is just too slippery right now. He is being a real pain in the... Yeah. For the side of Rift Sharks. Cesaris just playing so well. Somebody in chat wants to keep track of how many different times I've... how many different ways I've pronounced his name. It's probably a lot, but... Oh, but he is engaged on. He does get the Curse of the Sad Mummy. He doesn't fall. He has Flash for the Command Shockwave. Healy is looking a little one-shot, but he does have the... Zanya's into Flash, what I'm trying to say. But Caesarius does unfortunately fall, but... Let's see if Cerberus can maybe pick up the damage, but who secured objective? And... On steals the objective. I don't know if that was like a visual bug. That was weird. That was really weird. That guy just like kind of glitched out. On does manage to steal the Elder Dragon. This is just a game of steals. Every time you think that Rift Sharks are in a winning position, or Severus is, no co-host hard. No co-host hard. What was I talking about? I don't remember. Oh yeah, they've been stealing all the objectives. I'm so lightheaded, guys, I'm not gonna lie. Sorry if game 3 has been less quality than game 1 and 2. I'm trying my best. 3-game series is hard, but hype nonetheless. This is an 8,000 health Scion, by the way. Absolute massive unit of a man wearing the Elder Dragon buff. Speaking of buffs, the purple worm is spawning in 15 seconds, and you have to assume, unless something crazy happens and people end up not dying in this fight, wearing purple is a way for either of these teams to just end the game. True Shot Barrage comes out, does pretty good poke. Oh, and they're looking for Healy. Flash Charm does go a little wide, but Curse of the Sad Mummy hitting everybody. On is on the back line. Zanyas comes out from Healy, but in the middle of the fight, Scion is just immortal while Vi is absolutely messing up these carries, but Elder Dragon is too strong. Joel does manage to trade onto him, though. Scion is getting kited for 20 million years. Help him. Oh! Help him. I don't know what is going on anymore. Healy is on the run. Joel is completely separated. Nobody has any idea where anybody is, but Caesarius will spot the thing on the floor. Healy showed on a ward, I believe. I believe he's showing on these wards. I don't know if they're going to opt to chase him, or if they're going to opt to... Yeah, they're going to chase, but it's a little too hard to chase the Orianna. I think a little bit of an overcommit on the chase from the side of Spectres. I think they could have just maybe hit Baron with their 80 carry support. But I guess their jungler did fall, and you don't want to risk a steal or the such. Very delayed base on the side of Healy. Maybe they can do something with that mismatch timer, but more than likely not. Just clear out the vision from the pits and start up the Baron. Another 45-minute banger. This Scion has enough health bars to, like, I don't even know. That guy's big. Charm does land onto Healy. Oh, the amazing engage from the Orianna plus Amumu. Amumu is going to go down for it, but they trade onto the Ahri. Absolute cluster. Caesarius does get facebreakered, which is going to result in his death. Healy is going to fall as a result, though. 2v2, 3v2, I mean. The side, I just do not see Scion dying in this fight. Repel from the Elise, try and maybe get out. Maybe the Flash heroic charge is going to take him out. Now it is just Scion versus the world. He does have a Sunfire cape, though, so I think he can burn everybody to death. Cue the Mickey Mouse Looney Tunes music, by the way. Neither of these players can kill each other. Actually, with the Divine Sunder, Joel might be able to win the fight, especially since no mana on the side of Avery. I'm about to pass out. I would have liked to see Avery just turn around and auto the Poppy ones, though, for the Heartsteel proc and the Grass proc. He probably would have got, like, another 300 HP off of that at this point. He's so much HP. And the second Elder Dragon is now spawning. Let's see if somebody makes the classic mistake of trying to contest, or trying to trade Elder for Baron. If you do that, you will almost always lose the game. They'll just kill you with the Elder. So I hope both teams don't make that vital mistake and just walk into this pit. Once again, Rift Sharks do have complete and utter priority, but oh, kicked away is the... Okay, flash the Crystal Arrow, and at this point it is just a pure on free-for-all with Scion taking the brunt of everything. Joel getting into the backline, finding an angle onto the Elise. Ashe is absolutely just free hitting, absolutely just shredding the Scion right now, though. No kills so far. Shut down onto the Ashe. Can Poppy die? No. Fucking annoying bug makes my screen go black. I don't even know what's going on anymore because my screen went black. I got really lost. Okay, Scion somehow didn't die. Ashe managed to fall. Dean falling in the back. Vi with the GA, or Ezra with the GA. Everybody on the side of Rift Sharks, on the side of Rift Sharks is roughly 20% HP, so they're just gonna have to recall. But Joel is TPing into base. He's looking to end. He's trying to do what Spectres could not, and that is backdoor, but with all these minions, it might be possible, but with all these... Oh my god, he's immortal. And I have to assume the Hong Baba is just going to pick up the kill eventually. Maybe burn? 49, 45, 45 health? Maybe an Ezreal True Shot Barrage? It's not actually up, so Poppy will walk away without teleport, though. And, I guess we're fighting over this Elder for the third time now. Or second time. Second Elder, second time. 3 total fights. But it's the second time that they're fighting over this. Well, it's not really much of a fight. It's kind of just a... Spectres are taking this for free. There might even be an just absolute one-shot onto Healy. You have to just assume, what a ulti, but it doesn't really matter. They're just going to march into the Nash pit. We're going to need to see like a miracle Poppy ult, like everybody out of the pit into steal, into defend, or something. Because if this, okay, well, Amumu goes in, ultis. Wait, they actually stole it. What the fuck? But Elder's, like, OP, so... And the Ants are probably going to go marching one by one down the mid lane, and that is going to be GG. What an insane series. Like, 3 50-minute games. Other than game 2, I think it was like 35. Like, absolutely insane games. But Spectres will end up taking the series 2-1. That has got to be the best series played thus far of Season 5 of Scrim Zones. What an absolutely amazing game. Amazing showing from both teams. They both played so exceptionally well. Small little faults here and there. I did feel like that Spectres were generally playing better overall. I think that is also, while being the best series of games played, that's also the first ever 3-0 that has ever happened in Scrim Zone, in a best of three. Because Spectres had every right to win that first game, but Trinimir not pressing R kind of lost them that game solo. So, I mean, they essentially won 3-0, but gosh darn if they weren't completely and utterly neck to neck the entire time. Honestly, just amazingly played by all the teams. What an enjoyment to cast. I'm going to pass out from how lightheaded I am from trying to just keep that cast going. But, I mean, honestly, just absolutely amazingly played. If there's any members of Spectres that's watching and wants a interview, let's see, at Spectres, anyone want an interview? I don't even know what questions I'm gonna ask. I'm probably just gonna be like, holy crap, y'all played like monsters. Oh, and for the person asking who I'm gonna have to give MVP to that third game to Cesaris. Absolutely stellar performance on the Ezreal in that game. That stealing the dragon with ulti, I think solo won them the game. He was also he ended that game with 73,000 damage. He did not outdamage the Ashe, but the Ashe also had a like 10,000 health Scion that she just got to free hit on. And Cesaris did not have somebody like that to just free hit on. So, drag Avery. I can't. Okay.
Yellow.
Hello. What an amazing series that was. What are your first thoughts coming out of that game?
Listen, after how we played those first two games, my cheeks were clenched the entire time. I had no faith. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm just joking. I had faith, but yeah, it was super close. I definitely didn't think like, oh, we got this 100%. Like it was to the wire every time. Like every time we fought.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was so well played by both teams. So incredibly close. All three games, honestly. Since you're the person that they sent, I want to ask, what was going through your head when you didn't ulti in game 1 as Tryndamere, and didn't get the backdoor because of it? That was you, right?
Oh, yeah, that was me. Let me think. One, it might have been close. I don't think I would have got the backdoor even if I did press ult. I think I needed to auto it too many times for how long my ult was going to last, and they had people backing. I didn't pan my camera, but from the comms going on in the game, I think there was a bit of a misstep in stopping the backs for the backdoor. I think if I had a little bit more time, it would have been good. But, I'm Tryndamere. I'm always trying to live on the razor's edge. I gotta inch out every single last millisecond of non-ult time I can get. And, sometimes that's just happened. You're bound to look stupid sometimes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is just the Tryndamere life. Sometimes it happens. In that final game, what were the comms, or how was your team feeling around that? The dragon that Cesaris stole and got the Infernal Soul, that entire absolute crazy team fight around it. How did that team fight? How did that feel? Or like
So I think like in the beginning, like towards the earlier part of that game, my idea was kind of to get Ashe away from the fight as much as possible. Like I think there was a couple times where I just like right clicked her and like tried to like drag her off away from like the rest of the fight, and that wasn't really working. So I think that was one of the few fights where I started like just literally trying to just stand between everybody permanently. And I I don't know. Our comms in a lot of these fights were a little split. We definitely had a lot of places where we I don't know, where we were trying to. Well, I think our ideas were misaligned. But when he stole that dragon, like we had already been like, oh, this dragon, they're gonna get it. It's whatever. He stole it. We called that play of the game right there. We were gonna accept no other plays of the game,
Oh yeah,
no matter what anyone did.
absolutely play the game. I mean, just completely feel like you were just on the back foot of momentum, and then he stole it, and it just absolutely just flipped the momentum completely. Really.
Oh yeah, morale was definitely a lot higher after that.
Yeah, I mean, momentum or not, flipping morale is always probably the best thing that can happen in a game, especially after a play like that. Um, just out of curiosity, uh, why do you know why? Was it just because he just came off of an amazing game 2 performance on the champion, but why Sarverus Savaris picked Ari in that game 3 when it was like the worst Ari game ever? I wanted to ask him that if he came, because they were showing like 3 characters that fundamentally counter Ari, and then he locked it in, and I'm just watching him get shot in the face by Ash ultis all game, and it's like, oh my god, he can't play. I felt so bad.
I mean, I don't know. I think part of it might have been a little bit of ego. Like he probably realized that it wasn't the best spot, but he's like, I can play around it. Like I'll make it work. And I mean, to his credit, we ended up making it work, but it was definitely super rough. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think it was mainly just like realizing like the dangers, but saying like he can play around it. We can play around it.
Yeah, I mean
I think I couldn't tell you the exact reason he
Well,
picked
yeah,
it.
yeah.
No.
um, I'm not gonna lie. I'm really lightheaded. Coming up with questions on the spot kind of suck. Are there any things about any of the 3 games that you just wanted to share?
Um, let's say, you know what? I got trolled in all 3 games. Almost like less so as the series progressed. I got trolled in all 3 games. Team never listens to me. They better stop making me weak side detainee. They better start playing top, or else we're gonna have some issues. I'm gonna start running down games,
I don't know.
and that's it.
It looked like
That's it. That's it.
I don't know. That game 2 looked like some pretty good coordinated dives with the Hong Baba roams. Punish the KO Darius game.
Yeah, those good first steps. Good first steps. We gotta pump these numbers up. We gotta pump these numbers up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I feel you. I feel you. Well, congratulations on your W. It was a joy to cast, and I congratulate you on your win. But
Oh yeah, thank you.
do you know who you're playing next week?
I think it's Metabusters.
The Metabusters. So
Yeah.
just give me a little tease. What do you think of your opponents coming up next week? Looking towards the future.
I think I got a lot of respect for what they try to put into the Rift. I got a lot of respect for people that wake up every day and say, you know what, I'm gonna try just a little bit at least today to go against the grain. And so I can't say 100%, but I think you might see some against the grain gameplay from our team too. I couldn't tell you 100%.
Ooh.
I don't know if everyone's on board, but it's in the works. It's in the works.
It's in the works. TM. But that's
TM, yes.
that's behind locked doors though. We'll have to see next week.
Yes, sir.
Well, once again, congratulations on your win. It was a crazy series. In my opinion, I don't know if you were like watching the stream and listen. I think that was the best series that has been played so far. Like the most entertaining to watch or cast or like anything that has been played so far this season. Absolutely insane. You told me that was grand finals. I believe you. Absolutely bonkers. So.
Yeah, no, you could. It was almost like the stakes were like through the roof on that one, and you could convince me. But yeah.
Yeah. So. Thank you for putting on a show. It was a pleasure to watch, and
Hell yeah, always, every week.
I wish you well in your future weeks of games, unless you're playing us in like 4 weeks. So.
Oh yeah, and in that case, Yeah. Praying on my downfall.
Yeah,
I
yes.
got you. I can respect it though. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I guess that's it for this stream. Catch us back. I think tomorrow. I think there's a game tomorrow. Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah, I think
tomorrow at 7:30 EST. So we'll be back tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be casting, but somebody will. So I'm gonna end the stream.
Hell yeah. GG's Rip Sharks. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.